Chapter 3575. Bing Running looked at this scene, and her body was trembling, as if she couldn't accept this fact. Indeed. She had always thought that Princess Huifeng was the same as her, only mastering the law of devour. It was precisely because of this that she never thought that she would lose to Princess Huifeng. In her heart, she had always thought that she and Princess Huifeng were both geniuses of the Feng people, sharing the limelight with each other. But she never expected that the other party had already comprehended the second strongest law. Strongest law, to be able to comprehend two strongest laws by relying on one's own ability, one could say that one has heaven-defying luck. For example, Qin Feiyang now relied on himself to comprehend the law of cause and effect. As for Madman, the law of death and the law of destruction were both inherited. To be honest, Qin Feiyang and Madman's talent and comprehension ability were already unmatched in the Sky Cloud realm. This point could be seen from how Qin Feiyang comprehended the law of cause and effect so quickly. But even so, he only relied on his own ability to comprehend the law of cause and effect. It could be seen that, for the law of cause and effect, comprehension ability was secondary. Luck was the most important. Let's talk about the prince and princess of the dragons. These people could get whatever they wanted, whether it was resources or background, they were incomparable to others. However, they had only comprehended one type of ultimate law. Therefore, it wasn't difficult to imagine how terrifying a person who relied on his own ability to comprehend two strongest laws was. Not to mention other things, at least in terms of luck, no one could compare. So, one could imagine. Looking at the person she had always regarded as an opponent who actually mastered two strongest laws, how big of an impact was this to Bing Running. Even the people who were watching the battle were moved by it. The only ones with a smile on their faces were Pyrotechnic Glow, Daifuku, and Xiao Fu. Even the two middle-aged women behind Huizihue had faces full of shock. These two people were also Pyrotechnic Glow's followers. But obviously, even they didn't know about this matter. This is the true strength of the eldest princess, the white-haired old woman, the white-haired old man, and the middle-aged man murmured. Their faces were filled with shock. It was only at this moment that they found out that the first princess had actually grasped two supreme laws. In other words, in the past, the first princess had always gone easy on Bing Running. However, not only did Bing Running not restrain herself, she even went overboard. Boom! With a deafening boom, the fifth profundity of the two supreme laws appeared. The five-colored divine lotus created by the fifth Upanishad of the Karma law was like a dazzling sun that illuminated the world. The devouring seal formed by the fifth profundity of the law of devouring seemed to be able to devour everything. It emitted an aura that shook the heavens and the earth. The two fifth profound meanings were like two gods. Many people couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. Today, I'll let you know the difference between us. Princess Huifeng's eyes turned cold. Her two fifth profound skills instantly shattered the sky. Carrying a monstrous might, they shot towards Bing Running. Your Highness. The expressions of the white-haired old woman and the other two changed drastically. But at the same time, four auras locked onto them. The owners of these four auras were the Daifuku brothers and the two middle-aged women. Their intentions were clear. If you dare to interfere, don't blame us for being merciless. In response, the faces of the white-haired old woman and the other two instantly darkened. At the same time, Bing Running turned a deaf ear to them. She stared fixedly at the two profundities that were heading towards her. I don't believe it. Suddenly, accompanied by a hysterical roar, the five supreme laws that she had grasped emerged one after another. The law of devouring was the leader. The fifth profound meaning of the five supreme laws crazily blasted towards the five-colored divine lotus and the devouring seal. In just an instant, the two sides met in the void with a loud bang, and a wave of destructive air immediately rolled out in all directions with the two as the center. At the same time, Bing Running spat out a mouthful of blood. Her face instantly turned pale. Although it was the fifth profound meaning of the five supreme laws, it simply couldn't block the five-colored divine lotus and the devouring seal. It instantly shattered in the void. This was the power of supreme laws. Against ordinary laws, they were completely crushed. Boom! After crushing the fifth profound meaning, the five-colored divine lotus and the devouring seal seemed to have transformed into two death gods, charging towards Bing Running. Bing Running's eyes were filled with despair. The white-haired old woman and the other two were also burning with anxiety. But suddenly, the five-colored divine lotus and the devouring seal both stopped above Bing Running's head and didn't bombard her anymore. Bing Running was stunned. The white-haired old woman and the other two also looked at Princess Huifeng suspiciously. She clearly had a chance, but why did she suddenly stop? However, Princess Huifeng didn't explain to anyone. She glanced at Bing Running indifferently and waved her hand. The five-colored divine lotus and the devouring seal immediately dissipated in the void. Immediately, she retracted her aura, turned around and walked towards Pyrotechnic Glow and the others without looking back, leaving Bing Running with a cold back view. What's going on? White-eyed Wolf looked suspiciously at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. It was as if the current Bing Running wasn't even qualified to be looked at by him. In the blink of an eye, Bing Running held the Ice Phoenix sword and had already charged behind Princess Huifeng. Boom! Clang! But at this moment, accompanied by two loud sounds, the Fire Phoenix Divine Jade and the Fire Phoenix sword both appeared. The divine power of the two sovereign divine weapons immediately erupted like a volcano, blasting towards Bing Running and the Ice Phoenix sword. The Ice Phoenix sword was shocked and hurriedly opened a barrier to protect Bing Running. Boom! The divine power arrived. Bing Running and the Ice Phoenix sword were blasted away on the spot. Despite the explosion of the Ice Phoenix sword, Bing Running spat out another mouthful of blood. At this moment, her hair was disheveled and her body was stained with blood. Half kneeling in the void, she looked extremely miserable. Chapter 3576. Fire Phoenix Sword, Fire Phoenix Divine Jade. At this moment, not only the white-haired old woman, but even the dragon's group could not help but shrink their pupils. These were the sovereign divine weapons of the Fire Foam people. The Fire Foam people actually gave her two sovereign divine weapons to protect herself. She was indeed the apple of his eye. It can't be. She actually has two sovereign divine weapons. The spectators were even more shocked. Especially Elder Hua, the alliance leader, and He Zhongtian. The fact that Bing Running had a ruler's divine weapon was already shocking enough. However, the first princess had two of them with her. The Foam people were really terrifying. It was estimated that the foundation of the Foam people was not inferior to the dragons. Elder Hua and the others knew about the existence of the Foam people and the dragons, but the leaders of the Heavenly Palace did not know. As the ruler of the northern continent, the Heavenly Palace also had countless spies hidden in various continents. In fact, they had also been investigating the details of the Dragon's group since a long time ago. However, no matter how hard they tried, they could not find anything. Because of this, currently, the four superpowers of the Sky Cloud realm, the Heavenly Palace, the Divine Palace, the Demon Palace, and the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Only the Heavenly Palace knew nothing about them. Of course, it was also good that they did not know. After all, the Heavenly Palace had not been implicated until now. However, the scene in front of them made the doubts in their hearts soar to another level. Don't ask for a rebuff. Princess Huifeng said lightly with her back facing Bing Running. Bing Running half knelt in the void, looking at the back of Princess Huifeng. Her face was incomparably ferocious. She shouted, "Give me the Profound Ice Divine Hammer and Profound Ice Divine Bow." The middle-aged man and the others trembled and quickly flew to Bing Running's side and whispered, "Your Highness, let's stop here. Give it to me." Bing Running stretched out her hand and glared at the two. "Your Highness, this is really not possible." The middle-aged man and the white-haired old man shook their heads. Because the Profound Ice Divine Hammer and Profound Ice Divine Bow were in their hands. Princess Wufeng had already shown mercy. If Bing Running continued to cause trouble, not only would she completely infuriate the first princess, but she would also infuriate the Fire Phoenix clan's patriarch. Although the Fire Phone People's chief was a person who prioritized the overall situation, it didn't mean that he didn't have a temper. "Are you also going to disobey my orders?" Bing Running roared. "Your Highness, calm down. If this goes on, you'll go mad. We were in the wrong to begin with. Not only is the first princess being merciful to you, but she also didn't publicize the fact that you killed her and framed Qin Feiyang. This is already giving us enough face. Your Highness, please stop. Even if you don't think for yourself, you have to think for our Ice Phoenix clan. Let's not talk about the patriarch of the Fire Phoenix clan. Let's talk about Feng Ho. Feng Ho's heart is as clear as a mirror. He definitely knows that you killed the eldest princess. The reason why he didn't do anything is because he doesn't want to interfere with the matters of the younger generation. However, if you continue to cause trouble like this, the Phoenix Empress will become furious. At that time, you will not be the only one who will be implicated. Our entire Ice Phoenix clan will also be implicated." The white-haired old woman and the other two tried to persuade Bing Running. Feng Ho. Bing Running's eyes trembled. She wasn't afraid of the Fire Phone People's chief, but she had to be afraid of Feng Ho. This was because Feng Ho was the supreme existence of the Phone People. If Feng Ho was angry, even her father, the patriarch of the Ice Phoenix clan, would have to kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. "What's the difference between you and those clowns now?" Princess Wufeng slowly turned around and looked at Bing Running, shaking her head in disappointment. Bing Running was burning with anger. "First princess, please forgive us." The white-haired old woman and the other two bowed. Princess Wufeng glanced at the three, then looked at Bing Running again and said lightly, "The dragons are watching over there. Don't embarrass the Phone People." After saying that, Princess Wufeng turned around and landed beside Pyrotechnic Glow. The Fire Phoenix Sword and Fire Phoenix Jade also returned to her body. "Sister, you're awesome." Pyrotechnic Glow chuckled. Princess Wufeng rolled her eyes at him and looked at Bing Running quietly. "This woman's character is really bad. Isn't that so? The other party has already shown mercy, but she's still pestering endlessly. She's unreasonable." The onlookers couldn't help but shake their heads, their eyes full of disdain. Compared to Qin Feiyang's character, the difference was like heaven and earth. Because no matter what Qin Feiyang did, no matter who he had a grudge with, he would never implicate the innocent. Sometimes, he would even come out to help the innocent. Bing Running was already furious, and hearing these discussions, one could imagine how she felt. Clang! The Ice Phoenix sword burst out with a powerful divine aura that enveloped all directions. "You ants, what right do you have to talk about this princess?" Killing intent surged in her eyes, and the Ice Phoenix sword burst out a sword shadow that tore the sky and earth apart, slashing towards the crowd in front of her. "What? She's angry and wants to attack us?" Everyone's expression changed. Princess Wufeng and Pyrotechnic Glow raised their brows and were about to stop her. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang suddenly stood up and used the space-time step to block in front of the crowd. Qin Feiyang. Looking at Qin Feiyang's back, the panicking crowd immediately felt as if they had eaten a calming pill. Qin Feiyang looked up at the sword shadow, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. With a clang, the Death God's sword appeared and slashed towards the sword shadow. Boom! The sword shadow collapsed on the spot. The ripples that were created were instantly erased by the death god's sword. If the ripples were not suppressed, many lives would be lost. Qin Feiyang. It was fine if Qin Feiyang didn't make a move, but once he did, he completely enraged Bing Runing. Because in her opinion, all of this was caused by Qin Feiyang. If Qin Feiyang hadn't protected Princess Huifeng's remnant soul, would this scene have happened? Are you sure you want to attack me? You have to know that we are not in a heavy region. Even if you have 3 sovereign divine weapons, I can still make you go back lying down. Qin Feiyang said lightly. Domineering. Everyone's heart trembled. In this world, who would dare to say such arrogant words in the face of 3 sovereign divine weapons? You want us to go back lying down? Haha, Bing Runing laughed crazily. The white-haired old woman and the other 2 were also furious. But at the same time, there was a trace of fear. In the past few days in the eastern continent, they had inquired about what Qin Feiyang had done in the sky cloud realm. Before coming out of the heavy region, they didn't put Qin Feiyang in their eyes. Even if he had a sovereign divine weapon, so what? But when they learned about Qin Feiyang's means to deal with the dragons and that Qin Feiyang had a sovereign divine weapon and a divine art that was comparable to a sovereign divine weapon, they began to fear Qin Feiyang. Although Qin Feiyang's foundation was not as good as the Feng people, these terrifying means were enough to make anyone in the world feel fear. Most importantly, now, the eldest princess of the Feng people was obviously standing with Qin Feiyang. The eldest princess had 2 sovereign divine weapons, plus pyrotechnic glow, and pyrotechnic glow also had a sovereign divine weapon. Now, pyrotechnic glow would definitely stand with the eldest princess. The eldest princess, Huizihue, and Qin Feiyang. If they were to truly shed all pretense of cordiality, then to them, it would simply be a disaster. Be sensible. Don't embarrass yourself and don't delay our final battle. At this time, the eldest prince of the dragons stood up and looked coldly at Bing Runing. Being ridiculed again and again, Bing Runing was about to go crazy. Suddenly, the white-haired old man raised his arm and slapped the back of Bing Runing's head like a blade. Bing Runing let out a muffled groan and fainted on the spot. What are you doing? The middle-aged man and the white-haired old woman looked at the white-clothed old man in shock and anger. The white-clothed old man said in a deep voice, "This is the only way to calm Her Highness down." Sigh. The white-haired old woman couldn't help but sigh. Knocking Her Highness out was indeed the best way. She then carried Bing Runing and silently retreated to the side with the middle-aged man and the white-haired old man. The Ice Phoenix sword also returned to Bing Runing's body. The first prince of the dragon race landed in front of Qin Feiyang. He looked at Qin Feiyang with an overbearing aura and said, "It's our turn now." Wait. I challenged him first. There should be a first come first serve. Pyrotechnic Glow shouted. As soon as he said this, everyone looked at Pyrotechnic Glow. Your Highness, what are you trying to do? The Daifuku brothers also looked at Pyrotechnic Glow suspiciously. The misunderstanding had already been resolved. Why would he still fight Qin Feiyang? I just want to see how strong he is. Huizihue secretly said. With one step, he arrived behind Qin Feiyang and excitedly said, "Let me have a taste of it." The eldest prince of the dragons raised his eyebrows. This person's IQ is really worrying. Who is Qin Feiyang? Is he someone you are qualified to challenge? Qin Feiyang waved his hand and the Thanatos returned to his body. He turned to look at Pyrotechnic Glow. Seeing Pyrotechnic Glow's eager look, he said helplessly, "Come find me when you have the ability to defeat your sister. Don't look down on me, okay? I'm still very strong." Pyrotechnic Glow felt wronged. Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly and nodded. "Alright, I'll satisfy your competitive spirit." Hey! Pyrotechnic Glow bared his teeth. Qin Feiyang took a step forward and instantly landed in front of Pyrotechnic Glow. What are you doing? I'm not ready yet. Hua Zihue's expression turned flustered as he cried out. Everyone was speechless when they heard this. Princess Huafeng also immediately turned her head and looked away, as if she didn't know him. Can you be more mature? Who will give you time to prepare in a battle? Do you think this is a game? Qin Feiyang turned a deaf ear to Hua Zihue. His palm descended, and Hua Zihue immediately let out an anguished howl. Like a meteorite, he smashed into the sea below. Ah! Everyone was stunned. That's it. He couldn't even withstand a single blow. The two middle-aged women frowned and looked at the eldest princess. Don't look at me. He asked for it. The eldest princess snorted coldly. The two women looked at each other and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Splash! Accompanied by a huge wave, Pyrotechnic Glow rushed out of the sea and glared at Qin Feiyang. You cheated. Cheated? Qin Feiyang looked at this person in a daze. Is this a joke? Chapter 3577. The onlookers couldn't help but laugh as well. It was a little funny. However, compared to the unreasonable Bing running, they couldn't help but have a good impression of Pyrotechnic Glow. Get over here. As the older sister, Princess Huafeng couldn't stand it any longer and shouted. No. Pyrotechnic Glow shook his head. You want me to say it again? Princess Huafeng's face darkened, and her eyes revealed a trace of unfriendliness. Pyrotechnic Glow shrunk his neck, looked at Qin Feiyang, and said arrogantly, Next time. Next time, we'll fight fair and square. After saying this, he ran over to Princess Huafeng's side, his face full of flattery. I haven't seen you for a while. How did you become prettier again? How many handsome young men will be charmed by you? Princess Huafeng didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she heard this. This twin brother of hers was truly a headache. This farce is finally over. The first prince of the dragons retracted his gaze and looked at Qin Feiyang. Do you still remember our agreement? I don't think I need to say it again. Let's begin. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Brother, what agreement did they have before? A youth in the crowd looked at a middle-aged man next to him and asked curiously. I'm not their little follower. How would I know? The middle-aged man rolled his eyes, thought for a moment, and said in a low voice, However, I think that there should be some sort of wager for this battle. Wager? For people of their level, if there's really a wager, it's definitely not ordinary. Another person at the side interrupted. Yes. Hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement. Boom! Qin Feiyang and the first prince of the dragons released their auras at almost the same time. They were both perfect rulers. The young man who had his eyes closed finally opened his eyes again and looked at Qin Feiyang and the first prince of the dragons. Although he still looked sleepy, there was a trace of expectation in his eyes. Who do you think will win this battle, Big Brother or Qin Feiyang? The second princess of the dragons transmitted her voice. It should be Big Brother. After all, he inherited the supreme inheritance of the Golden Dragon clan. The fourth prince pondered for a while and then said to himself. Not necessarily. After all, Qin Feiyang has now mastered the paramount mysteries of two supreme laws. The third prince shook his head. In any case, no matter who wins, he can forget about leaving White Crane Island alive today. The young man in red snorted coldly. Why did they come? They were here to kill Qin Feiyang. Don't disappoint me, meanwhile. The little princess of the dragons looked at the two people on the battlefield and muttered to herself. She had been waiting for this battle between Qin Feiyang and the first prince of the dragons for a long time. If Qin Feiyang could really kill the first prince, one of her wishes would be fulfilled. The two old women standing behind the little princess looked at the little princess of the dragons and then looked at the first princess of the dragons. They couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Some knots in one's heart could be untied as long as one thought it through. However, some knots in one's heart could only be untied after seeing the other person die. The knot in the little princess' heart belonged to the latter. Whoosh! Suddenly, Qin Feiyang and the first prince of the dragons, who were standing in the air, turned into streaks of light. Their speed was hard to catch with the naked eye, and they collided in an instant. Boom! The two fists collided with a loud bang. A terrifying shockwave burst out, and the surrounding void began to collapse crazily. After the collision, the two were forced back and once again charged at each other. In less than 10 breaths, the two had exchanged hundreds of blows. This speed was simply astonishing. What's going on? Little Qin Zi's physical body has already broken through the limit and reached the Supreme Being level. How can the first prince still fight so fiercely with him? The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows. Long Chen smiled faintly and said, "This is just the warm-up stage. Brother Qin hasn't activated his physical strength and defense yet. Of course, the first prince hasn't shown his true strength either." "You know the first prince's strength?" The white-eyed wolf looked at him suspiciously. "Of course I know." Long Chen nodded. "Then how strong is he now?" The white-eyed wolf was curious. "It's meaningless to say it out loud. Let's just watch quietly. Brother Qin might be caught in a tough battle." Long Chen smiled. "A tough battle?" The white-eyed wolf didn't think so. Although the first prince of the dragons had obtained the supreme inheritance, Qin Feiyang's strength was also improving. Bang! Bang! Boom! The two continued to exchange blows in the air. Their figures intertwined and their divine power surged. It was dazzling to watch. Gradually, everyone noticed that Qin Feiyang was frowning. What's going on? Is little Qin Zi really going to be caught in a tough battle? The white-eyed wolf frowned. Actually, that wasn't the case. Qin Feiyang frowned because he discovered that the current dragon race's first prince was like a completely different person compared to the previous 2 times they fought. The last 2 times. The first prince of the dragon's combat awareness and experience were quite ordinary. Anyone could be better than him. But this time, the first prince of the dragon's combat awareness and experience were not inferior to Qin Feiyang's. Hundreds of breaths passed. Accompanied by loud rumbling sounds, the two had already exchanged thousands of blows. Qin Feiyang was finally certain that the first prince of the dragon's combat awareness and experience were superior. He was definitely not a flower that grew up in a greenhouse. In other words, the former first prince of the dragon clan had always been concealing his strength, always showing weakness in front of him. But why? Wait. Could it be, as the little princess of the dragon clan had said, that everything the first prince of the dragon clan had done was just to obtain the supreme inheritance of the golden dragon clan? Bang! After another few thousand rounds, the two of them threw punches at each other and staggered back. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath, looked at the first prince of the dragons, and said, "You've really put in a lot of effort." "What do you mean?" The first prince of the dragons was taken aback and looked at Qin Feiyang in confusion. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, "The successor of the Golden Dragon clan's patriarch and the supreme inheritance of the Golden Dragon clan. Do you really need me to say these things?" The first prince of the dragon's pupils shrank. "I was so complacent. Little did I know that I had already fallen into your trap and become your chess piece. I admit that I really underestimated you. But, shouldn't you thank me? After all, I'm the one who helped you." Qin Feiyang said. Hearing this, the first prince of the dragons fell silent. What does he mean by that? How did he become this person's chess piece? Everyone looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. The 2 old women standing behind the little princess heard Qin Feiyang's words and sighed deeply. They looked at the little princess of the dragons and said, "Your Highness, you really have great foresight. I was just guessing. I just didn't expect it to be true. The little princess whispered. It seems that we have all underestimated the first prince before. One of the old women shook her head. I have never underestimated him. A cold light flashed in the little princess' eyes. At the same time, the second princess of the dragons and the others couldn't help but frown. Outsiders didn't know what was going on, but they were different. When they heard Qin Feiyang mention the successor of the Golden Dragon clan's patriarch and the supreme inheritance of the Golden Dragon clan, they thought of a lot. This big brother's scheming was really terrifying. But it was also quite satisfying. Because at least they had seen with their own eyes that Qin Feiyang was ruthlessly schemed against by this big brother. Huh, the first prince of the dragons suddenly laughed and looked at Qin Feiyang in admiration. You can even see through this matter, as expected of the person who opened the eye of heaven. Then you should also know the price of using me. A cold light burst out from Qin Feiyang's eyes. Then you should also know that the current me is no longer the man who could be easily defeated by you. The first prince of the dragons confronted each other with a bone-piercing sharpness in his eyes. Then give it a try. As Qin Feiyang's voice fell, a powerful aura roared out from his body. This was the aura of his physical body and strength. The sky trembled and the void cracked, as if even this world couldn't withstand his terrifying strength and physical body. What kind of aura is this? What a strong pressure. Everyone's eyes trembled. As Qin Feiyang took a step forward, his body erupted with dazzling divine light, as if a peerless divine weapon had been unsheathed, destroying everything in all directions. He's finally starting to get serious. Long Chen muttered. In the end, he's still just an ant. The fire dragon lying on Long Chen's shoulder sneered. Long Chen didn't reprimand them. He just calmly watched. Then he looked at the first prince of the dragons. In the face of Qin Feiyang's powerful pressure, he didn't retreat in the slightest. He took a step forward and punched out with his bare hands. Seeing this, the white-eyed wolf couldn't help but want to laugh. Now he's going to fight Qin Feiyang head-on. Isn't this courting death? In just an instant, the two fists collided. It was also at this moment that an incomparable aura rushed out from the first prince of the dragon's body. Immediately after, a terrifying force roared out from the fists like a tide. Accompanied by a loud bang, the two's bodies shook and retreated at the same time. A bloody taste gushed out from their throats, and then they spat out a mouthful of blood. What? The white-eyed wolf suddenly stood up and looked at the first prince of the dragons in horror. This body, this strength, is not inferior to little Qin Zi's and has also broken the limit of the body. Qin Feiyang was also shocked. As the first prince of the dragon's opponent, he felt that this person had definitely broken the limit of the body. This was something he never expected. Because in the sky cloud realm for so many years, he had never heard of anyone who could break the limit of the body. Therefore, he had always thought that only he and the white-eyed wolf had broken the limit of the body. The first prince of the dragons said contemptuously, surprised. But you also surprised me. The last time you tricked me to White Crane Island, you hadn't broken the limit of the body. Broken the limit of the body. What kind of monsters are these two? Even this can be done. Once the limit of the body is broken, the body is comparable to a heaven-defying divine artifact. What? Comparable to a heaven-defying divine artifact? Then, with their current body, can't they directly confront a heaven-defying divine artifact? That's right. Everyone was shocked. This was unbelievable. Breaking the limit of the body had always been a legendary existence, but they didn't expect that someone could really do it. Chapter 3578. Breaking the limits of the physical body was an ethereal legend for many people. Because it was too difficult. No one had ever done it and succeeded. But at this moment, the two people in front of him actually broke the limits of the physical body. It was hard to imagine how they did it. It was comparable to a heaven-defying artifact. With such a physical body, who could be a match for it? Boom! Qin Feiyang and the Crown Prince of the Dragons collided once again. This was a contest of physical strength. The power of each punch was enough to shatter a mountain and river. Moreover, as the battle continued, their aura and strength became more and more terrifying. Boom! All of a sudden, Qin Feiyang's strength once again rose to a new height. In fact, before this, he did not fully activate the strength of his physical body. At first, it was only at the low-level heaven-defying level. However, he found that the Crown Prince of the Dragons seemed to be holding back his strength, so he continued to strengthen it. At this moment, his physical body and strength had already reached the high-level heaven-defying level. But even so, the Crown Prince of the Dragons was completely at ease. In short, Qin Feiyang increased his strength, and so did the Crown Prince of the Dragons. The two were completely evenly matched. Boom! Qin Feiyang's gaze trembled. The power hidden in his body once again erupted. Amazing! In just a few years, not only did you break the limits of your physical body, but you also raised it to the peak heaven-defying level. However, you want to suppress me with this? You're dreaming. The Crown Prince of the Dragons sneered. The strength of his physical body also increased again. And in an instant, it rose to the legendary heaven-defying level. Boom! The two's fists collided. Qin Feiyang spat out a mouthful of blood, and his whole body was immediately sent flying. The onlookers were dumbfounded. Qin Feiyang was actually no match for the Crown Prince of the Dragons. The Crown Prince of the Dragons laughed and said, "You didn't expect that my physical body would be so much stronger than yours. Legendary level heaven-defying." Qin Feiyang stabilized his body and looked at the dragon race's first prince, whose face was filled with arrogance. This person's strength surprised him time and time again. The legendary level? What do you mean? Some people were bewildered. Once the limits of the physical body are broken, the strength of the physical body can continue to increase. As for the strength of the physical body, it is said that it is divided into several levels, corresponding to the heaven-defying divine artifacts. The strength of the legendary level is comparable to a legendary level divine artifact. Some knowledgeable people began to explain. What? It's comparable to a legendary divine artifact. I haven't even seen a legendary divine artifact in my entire life. Boom! As the two forces collided, the two took a few steps back. As expected of an idol, the strength of his physical body is no weaker than his opponent's. Many young men and women shouted excitedly. It's indeed powerful. The others also nodded. But thinking about it carefully, it didn't seem to be anything new. Because it was basically like this. Every time Qin Feiyang disappeared for a period of time, his strength would improve greatly. Do you know the difference between you and me? Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked at the Crown Prince of the Dragons. The Crown Prince's face was gloomy. I don't care who my opponent is. Even if it's a mortal, I won't underestimate them. But you're different. Just because you have a slight advantage, you start to get carried away and don't put your opponent in your eyes. As the Crown Prince of the Dragons, as the successor of the Golden Dragon clan, as a Grand Perfect Dominator expert, I'm really surprised that you still have such an attitude. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Preaching to me? What qualifications do you have? The Crown Prince of the Dragons roared. With a monstrous aura, he madly attacked Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's expression was extremely calm. He took a step forward and the two began to fight again. Dragons, Golden Dragon clan, it seems that the other party is really a divine dragon. Truly inconceivable. Our Sky Cloud realm still has a dragon. Could it be that they are the mysterious force hidden in the Demon land? Everyone stared at the crown prince of the dragons, their eyes filled with awe. Not to mention anything else, just the identity of a divine dragon was enough to make people feel intimidated. Wait! Did you guys notice? Every time Qin Feiyang spits out blood, it's actually purple gold. Suddenly, someone exclaimed in surprise. "HM." Everyone was slightly stunned and looked at the corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth and the clothes on his body. Because Qin Feiyang was wearing white clothes, the purple gold dragon blood-stained areas were extremely eye-catching. It really was purple gold. What was going on? Why would a human's blood have such a strange color? The battle between Qin Feiyang and the crown prince of the dragons became more and more intense. Both of them had different injuries on their bodies, blood sprinkling down. One of the drops of purple gold dragon blood fell on the face of an old man. The old man was stunned and raised his hand to wipe off the purple gold dragon blood. When he lowered his head and saw the blood on his finger, a trace of shock suddenly crept up on his face. There were also a few people next to the old man who noticed this scene. They looked at the purple gold dragon blood in surprise for a moment and exclaimed, "Am I dreaming? There's actually dragon aura." What? Dragon aura? His words shocked everyone in all directions. Many people nearby went up to check it out. People in other places also took the initiative to reach out and catch the purple gold dragon blood falling from the sky. There was indeed dragon aura. And this dragon aura was stronger and purer than the dragon aura of an ordinary divine dragon. I thought of a legend, suddenly. A hoarse voice sounded. Everyone looked at a white-bearded old man. This white-bearded old man looked at Qin Feiyang in the sky, stroking the beard on his chin, looking unfathomable. Isn't this the old man who told stories in the tea house? Old man, why are you here? The last time you were taken away, I thought you were dead. Don't pretend to be mysterious, hurry up and tell us, what is the legend? Someone recognized the old man's identity and said with contempt in his eyes. The white-bearded old man glanced at those people who were talking and laughed. "I didn't expect you to remember this old man. How can we forget you? I haven't heard you tell stories for a few years, even drinking tea is boring." Someone said. The white-bearded old man laughed and raised his head to look at Qin Feiyang. He said, "Legend has it that many years ago, a purple gold divine dragon was born. The moment this purple gold divine dragon appeared, it caused a huge commotion. That's because no purple gold divine dragon has ever appeared in the sky cloud realm." What do you mean? You mean, this purple gold dragon is not from our sky cloud realm? Someone was surprised. There are rumors that say so. But rumors are just voice transmissions. Things that are not confirmed can't be believed. The white-bearded old man shook his head. Then why did you say it? Someone was dissatisfied. This old man is a storyteller, what else can I say? Besides, isn't this what you asked me to say? The white-bearded old man was dissatisfied. Okay, go on. Someone waved his hand. Okay. Since you want to hear it so much, then this old man will tell you about these rumors. It is said that this purple gold dragon was a woman, and for some reason, she fell in love with a human. You didn't hear it wrong, it was a human. But for many reasons, their union was opposed by many people. As a result, they faced a disaster and both husband and wife died. But it is said that they seem to have left behind descendants. When the white-bearded old man said this, he looked at Qin Feiyang with a trace of doubt in his eyes. The remaining 2 chapters will be released at 10:30. Chapter 3579. What? The purple gold divine dragon fell in love with a human and left behind a descendant. Everyone looked at each other. Not far away. When Elder Hua and the others heard this, they looked at the white-bearded old man with flickering eyes. This old man seemed to be talking nonsense, but when they thought about it carefully, they felt that he was describing a fact. The Demon Hall Master's eyes flashed. He turned to look at Chu Yun and asked in a low voice, "Xiao Yun, when you guys dealt with the first prince of the dragons last time, did this old man act differently?" "No. You've always looked like a coward." Chu Yun shook her head. "Timid." The Demon Hall Master pondered for a while and frowned, but why does he not seem like a timid person? Chu Yun glanced at the white-bearded old man and said indifferently, "He's just a storyteller. What's there to pay attention to?" The Demon Hall Master and Elder Hua looked at each other and did not say anything else. Suddenly, someone exclaimed, "Old man, are you saying that Qin Feiyang is their descendant, and the blood flowing out of him is also the purple gold dragon blood?" "I didn't say that Qin Feiyang is their descendant. We can't talk nonsense about things that we can't be sure of." The white-bearded old man quickly waved his hand and said, "But what we can be sure of is that the blood flowing out of him is the legendary purple gold dragon blood." Purple gold dragon blood. Everyone's eyes trembled. If that was the case, wouldn't Qin Feiyang be their descendant? The descendant of a purple gold divine dragon and a human. Why did this sound a little mysterious? High up in the sky, Qin Feiyang and the first prince of the dragons both displayed astonishing battle awareness. They fought back and forth, unable to tolerate each other. Rain poured down from the sky. However, no matter how heavy the rain was, it could not get close to them. Because before it could get close, it had already been evaporated by their powerful auras. It seems that the strength of the legendary level is already your limit. The first prince of the dragons smiled coldly. The aura and strength of his physical body surged crazily again. In the blink of an eye, he had reached the supreme level. Boom! Following closely. His eyes were filled with contempt as he punched towards Qin Feiyang's head. This can't be the heaven-defying strength of the supreme stage, right? Obviously, it is. Because the crown prince's strength is enough to make me, a perfect sovereign realm expert, feel an intense sense of danger. What kind of monster is this? He actually improved his physical body to such a level. This is an existence that I can only look up to in my entire life. Everyone was extremely shocked. Facing such a powerful crown prince of the dragons, did Qin Feiyang have any chance of winning? But as soon as this thought appeared, another powerful aura erupted. Everyone looked at Qin Feiyang again, and they were slightly stunned. His physical body had also reached such a level. Boom! In the sky, Qin Feiyang's gaze was as sharp as a blade as he punched towards the first prince of the dragon's fist. Both of them were emitting dazzling divine light, as if they were in the state of awakening divine weapons. It was extremely terrifying. Accompanied by a loud boom, the two fists collided violently. A shocking power immediately rolled out from the two of them, shattering the void for tens of millions of miles. This is simply a scene of the end of the world. It's too terrifying. Everyone was shocked. The various powerhouses could no longer stand by and watch. For example, the Eastern Continent's Elder Hua and the other two, the Western Continent's Alliance Master and the other two, the Southern Continent's Hizhongtian, the Northern Continent's Sky Hall's powerhouses. They all stood up and protected the surrounding spectators. This was because the battle was very intense. Among these people, many had not reached the perfect sovereign realm, and many were even at the imperishable realm. With their cultivation, they could not withstand the shockwaves of the battle between Qin Feiyang and the first prince of the dragons. In the sky, Qin Feiyang and the first prince of the dragons were like two gods of war. Their clothes and long hair fluttered in the wind as two invisible forces collided violently between their fists. However, compared to the calm and composed Qin Feiyang, the first prince of the dragon's expression was a little ferocious. This person's physical body had actually reached the supreme level of heaven-defying strength. Originally, when he saw that Qin Feiyang had maintained the heaven-defying strength of the legendary level, he thought that Qin Feiyang's physical body had only reached this level. In the eyes of others, the heaven-defying strength of the legendary level was a godlike existence. However, in the first prince's eyes, it could not withstand a single blow. He had already planned to use the strength of his physical body to give Qin Feiyang a fatal blow. However, he never expected that Qin Feiyang would be so good at hiding his true strength. How did you do it? I spent hundreds of thousands of years to raise the strength of my physical body to the supreme level of heaven-defying strength. But you, in just a few years, raised the strength of your physical body to this level. I cannot accept this. The first prince of the dragons roared as if he had gone mad. He had already planned that this time, not only would he defeat Qin Feiyang to wash away his shame, but he would also make Qin Feiyang lose all face. Even if he was lucky enough to survive, he would not dare to raise his head in front of others in the future. But who would have thought that Qin Feiyang's physical strength was not inferior to his at all? Who said that I had to spend hundreds of thousands of years like you? If I have to give you a reason, then I can only say that I worked harder than you. Qin Feiyang said indifferently. Worked harder than me? Do you know how much effort and sweat I put in to become stronger and inherit the position of the Golden Dragon clan's patriarch? When the other brothers and sisters were eating, drinking, and playing, I was cultivating. When the other brothers and sisters were acting spoiled in front of their parents, I was also cultivating. All the time, I was thinking about how to become stronger. You still dare to say that you worked harder than me? What a joke! The first prince of the dragons roared as the power in his body surged out like a raging torrent. There's a saying that you don't know. There's always someone better than you. Just when you think that your path will be filled with difficulties, in some other places, some other people will have to walk a path that is even more difficult than yours. Qin Feiyang said indifferently as power surged out like a tide. Rumble. When the two forces met, the two immediately retreated. What you said might make sense. But I don't see it. I only see my own hardships. So today, you must fall at my feet. The first prince of the dragons roared as a terrifying aura erupted from his body. In the next moment, his cultivation soared to the peak ruler realm. So what if your physical body is strong? In the face of absolute suppression of cultivation, you can only kneel and beg for mercy. At this moment, the first prince of the dragons was like a mad bull. His fists were like meteors as they flew toward Qin Feiyang. It can't be. He's hiding his cultivation. Peak ruler realm, he's one level higher than Qin Feiyang. Isn't this a one-sided situation? Seeing Qin Feiyang being beaten back by the first prince of the dragons, many people couldn't help but worry for Qin Feiyang. Sister, this person's strength isn't all that great. Pyrotechnic Glow pursed his lips. Not all that great. You were slapped into the sea by him. Princess Huafeng rolled her eyes at him. That's because his physical body is very strong. Putting aside his physical body, he's just average. Pyrotechnic Glow smiled disdainfully. Idiot. Princess Huafeng couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with this idiot. Why are you cursing? Pyrotechnic Glow was dissatisfied. Daifuku chuckled. Your Highness isn't wrong. Daifuku, what do you mean? Pyrotechnic Glow frowned. Daifuku said, Your Highness, think about it. If it's really as you say, Qin Feiyang is just an ordinary human, then can he break the limits of his physical body? This, Pyrotechnic Glow was speechless for a moment. He pursed his lips and said, he's just lucky. Lucky? Daifuku didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Breaking the limits of the physical body just because he was lucky? This statement was too naive. Princess Huafeng said indifferently, Daifuku, don't talk nonsense with this idiot, lest you lower your own intelligence. Sister, you're attacking me personally. If we weren't born of the same parents, I would have fallen out with you. When Pyrotechnic Glow heard this, a trace of anger appeared on his face. I'm also puzzled. Why is the difference so big even though we're both born of the same parents? Princess Wufeng shook her head and sighed. Pyrotechnic Glow was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Daifuku, Xiao Fu, and the two women couldn't help but laugh. These two siblings were really enemies, fighting each other whenever they didn't agree. On the other side, the white-haired old woman, the white-haired old man, and the middle-aged man had been watching the battlefield. Seeing Qin Feiyang getting more and more embarrassed by the dragon's crown prince, they felt quite comfortable. Suddenly, a murmur sounded. The three of them immediately looked at Bing Running, who was floating next to them. They saw Bing Running's eyelids move and slowly open her eyes. What's going on? My head hurts. It seems like I was hit by someone. Bing Running got up, rubbed the back of her head and frowned. It was me. The white-haired old man said. You. Bing Running was stunned. She looked at the white-haired old man and said angrily, Why? Your Highness, you really need to calm down. The white-haired old man sighed. The white-haired old woman and the middle-aged man also nodded. Humph. Bing Running glanced at the three of them and snorted. She looked up at the battlefield in the sky and was stunned. The dragon's crown prince is actually a perfected dominator. Moreover, both of them have broken the limits of their physical bodies. However, judging from the current situation, Qin Feiyang is definitely going to die. The white-haired old woman laughed sinisterly. A perfected dominator? Bing Running looked at the dragon race's gambling prince in astonishment. She then looked at Qin Feiyang, who was in a sorry state, and sneered, It's best if you cut him into 1,000 pieces and grind his bones to dust. However, I haven't seen them activate their profound laws or sovereign divine weapons. They probably still have some tricks up their sleeves. The white-haired old man was relatively rational. Qin Feiyang dared to fight the dragon's crown prince, so he must have made sufficient preparations. In his opinion, the outcome of this battle was still hard to predict. However, he didn't say it out loud, fearing that Bing Running would be dissatisfied. Chapter 3580. High up in the sky. Qin Feiyang was covered in blood and wounds. The crown prince of the dragons was the complete opposite. His momentum was unstoppable. I swore in my heart more than once that in this battle, I will let you have a taste of being trampled on. Now, it's time for you to have a taste. Accompanied by a loud laugh, the crown prince of the dragons waved his hand, and a thunderous force surged out from his palm. The Law of Thunder. He had finally activated the Law of Thunder. Boom! The crown prince of the dragons slammed his palm on Qin Feiyang's chest. The thunderous force contained an unstoppable force and instantly pierced through Qin Feiyang's chest, leaving a fist-sized bloody hole. He spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot and was sent flying. What's going on? Why isn't Qin Feiyang activating the Law of Thunder? Is he just waiting to be beaten up? What do you know? Facing the difference in cultivation, even if he activates the Law of Thunder, it won't help. I know that even the Law of Thunder cannot make up for the difference in cultivation, but rumor has it that Qin Feiyang has mastered the Karma Law of Thunder's ultimate mystery. The ultimate mystery. Even if there is a difference of a small realm, it can still easily crush him. Seeing this scene, some people in the crowd began to argue. What? Why aren't you activating your ultimate mystery? Who are you looking down on? The crown prince of the dragons roared. The Law of Thunder turned into a terrifying thunderous force, covering the sky as it crazily charged at Qin Feiyang. Boom! Right at this moment, Qin Feiyang waved his big hand, and 10 golden lotuses appeared in the sky. Then, they crushed the power of the thunderbolts in the void, and shattered them. Following closely, the 10 golden lotuses charged at the crown prince of the dragons. Did you see that? This is the Karma Law of Thunder's ultimate mystery. It is indeed an invincible existence. Everyone was excited. So what if the crown prince of the dragons is strong? Everyone knew that cultivation was indeed an inseparable part of the sovereign realm, but the most important part was still the comprehension of the laws. Take the karma laws for example. Unless one possessed a karma law of the same level, who would be able to compete with it? That's how it should be. If it's too easy to defeat you, then it won't be interesting. When the crown prince of the dragons saw the 10 golden lotuses, he was not nervous. Instead, he was excited. Rumble. Woo-woo. Accompanied by gusts of wind, an eye of lightning formed above the head of the first dragons. Thunder roared all around, like the eye of the heavens, exuding an aura of destruction. This is the supreme profundity of the laws of lightning. Everyone was stunned. The first prince of the dragon clan swept his gaze over the crowd below. He looked at Qin Feiyang with an aggressive gaze and sneered, "There are many people here who regard you as their idol. Today, I will break your idol's image in front of them and make you beg for mercy on the ground like a dog." As soon as he finished speaking, streaks of destructive lightning appeared and blasted toward the 10 golden lotuses. Rumble. A series of deafening noises immediately resounded in this world. The ultimate mystery of the ultimate mystery was indeed not something that ordinary laws could compare to. The destructive lightning continued to shatter. That's it. I thought it would be strong, but it turns out that it's just this. How dare you speak so arrogantly and make Qin Feiyang beg for mercy with just this little trick? You're overestimating yourself. Everyone immediately mocked. The crown prince of the dragons smirked and scanned the countless spectators. He said with disdain, "My tricks are not something that ants like you can imagine." Boom! Before he finished speaking, a terrifying aura accompanied by a destructive force rushed out of the crown prince of the dragon's body and rushed in all directions. The law of destruction. Everyone was surprised. Ultimate mystery, god of destruction. The crown prince of the dragons roared and a huge statue appeared above his head. The destructive aura instantly shrouded everyone present. Everyone was dumbfounded. This person not only mastered the ultimate mystery of the laws of lightning, but also the ultimate mystery of the laws of destruction. In this case, wouldn't Qin Feiyang be in danger? The law of destruction was also an ultimate mystery and was on par with the law of cause and effect. Coupled with the difference in cultivation, wouldn't Qin Feiyang lose without a doubt? Then, they looked at Qin Feiyang opposite them. Looking at the god of destruction above the crown prince of the dragons, their eyes flickered. Could this be the ultimate inheritance that the crown prince of the dragons had obtained? Although he had yet to reveal his true strength, the methods that the crown prince of the dragons had displayed were already qualified to show disdain for others. A supreme-level physical body, the law of lightning, the law of destruction, two ultimate mysteries. With such methods, even people of the older generation like Elder Huo were no match for the crown prince of the dragons. Simply put, not counting the 4 forbidden areas, the crown prince of the dragons' current strength was enough to suppress an entire continent. Destroy. The crown prince of the dragons waved his hand and the god of destruction raised his arm. A huge palm that could cover the sky came crashing down toward the 10 golden lotuses. With a loud cracking sound, the 10 golden lotuses shattered on the spot. Pooh! Qin Feiyang spat out a mouthful of blood and kept retreating. The shattering of a supreme profound intent brought about severe injuries. His complexion paled. Don't you have 3,000 incarnations? Don't you have the 6-word divine art? Bring them all out. Watch how I crush them one by one. The crown prince of the dragons became even more arrogant. With the ultimate mysteries of the law of destruction and the law of lightning, in addition to his advantage in cultivation, he was no longer afraid of Qin Feiyang's methods. Of course, the slaughter zone was an exception. However, the slaughter zone and the sovereign divine weapon were pre-agreed upon and could not be activated. Therefore, he was fearless now. The goddess of victory was standing behind him. Qin Feiyang remained silent. Boom! The ultimate mysteries of the law of destruction and the law of karma roared out at the same time. What? How did he master the ultimate mysteries of the law of destruction? When did this happen? Why have I never heard of it? Those who didn't know what was going on were all shocked. 2 ultimate mysteries of the ultimate mysteries. How shocking was that? Until now, they had never seen such an existence. Even people like Elder Hua had only mastered one ultimate mystery of the ultimate mysteries of the ultimate mysteries. In terms of comprehension, Qin Feiyang was far superior to the first prince of the dragons. In fact, he had surpassed all living beings on the various continents. Princess Huafeng said indifferently, "Brother, now you see it. Do you still think he's ordinary?" Pyrotechnic Glow's mouth was so dry that he couldn't say anything. The paramount profound meanings of 2 supreme laws, even in Feng people, no one had ever seen such a monster. One of the women shook her head and said, "Although he possesses 2 supreme profundities of supreme laws, the difference in cultivation is still unbridgeable." Yeah. Just one more step and he'll be able to fully mature. As long as he's given some more time to break through to the perfection sovereign realm, with his means, let alone the 4 great continents, even our 4 great forbidden zones wouldn't dare to underestimate him. The other woman nodded in agreement. It was true that he was a monster, but he was still a monster that had yet to mature. Right. Pyrotechnic Glow heard their words and nodded repeatedly. So what if he has comprehended more supreme profundities? He still can't turn the tables and turn defeat into victory. In fact, in his heart, he already felt a sense of fear toward Qin Feiyang. At such a young age, he had already grasped 2 supreme profundities of supreme laws. If he continued to grow, how powerful would he be? However, the first prince of the dragons wasn't surprised that Qin Feiyang had grasped 2 supreme profundities. The corners of his mouth were also full of disdain. The destruction god's giant hand carried an apocalyptic aura as it slammed toward the 2 supreme profundities. With a loud boom, Qin Feiyang's 2 supreme profundities were shattered on the spot. The next moment, the destruction god's giant hand slammed toward Qin Feiyang. Boom! In the nick of time, Qin Feiyang activated the battle formula and the law of war. However, in the face of the destruction god's giant hand, the armor formed by the battle formula shattered instantly with a crack. Dong! Following closely. Qin Feiyang was like a blood-stained meteorite as he crashed into the sea below, causing huge waves to surge. Long Chen took a sip of tea and looked at the white-eyed wolf with a smile. "I told you that Brother Qin would be in for a tough battle." The white-eyed wolf was stunned and looked at Long Chen strangely. "What? Is there a problem with what I said?" Long Chen was suspicious. No problem. The white-eyed wolf shook his paws and sighed. "I already told little Qin Zi not to fight with that bullshit first prince before he breaks through to sovereign perfection, but he just won't listen." Long Chen smiled. Brother Qin is indeed a little careless regarding this matter. Isn't that so? But there's no other way. They've already started fighting. Now we can only pray to the heavens and hope for a miracle. The white-eyed wolf shook his head, but his eyes were full of smiles. Did he really think that little Qin Zi would lose? Just wait, the best part was yet to come. Splash! Waves surged in the sea below. Qin Feiyang rushed out of a wave, his body dripping with blood. His face was pale, and his aura was very weak. If not for the dual protection of the battle character art and the law of war, he would have been doomed. However, it didn't matter, because everything was under control. Why didn't you activate your 3,000 clones? I heard that that's your true trump card. The first prince of the dragon clan looked down at Qin Feiyang, who was standing on the surface of the sea, and laughed loudly. Qin Feiyang, you have to do your best. We all have high hopes for you. Yes, quickly beat him up and shut him up. It's so annoying to listen to his chatter. The surrounding crowd roared. It's useless. No matter how strong he is, he won't be able to defeat the first prince of the dragons. Unless he can break through to the peak ruler realm now. If he really breaks through to the peak ruler realm, he'll be able to turn the situation around in an instant. But breaking through to the peak ruler realm isn't something that can be done so easily. Someone sighed. At least there are a few sensible people. The dragon race's crown prince raised his head and laughed heartily. Suddenly, he lowered his head and looked at Qin Feiyang. Killing intent burst out from his eyes as he said sinisterly, "Your biggest mistake is coming to fight me before you even stepped into the great perfection sovereign realm." The destruction god standing in the sky exuded a ferocious aura that intimidated everyone. You can hide your cultivation and strength, so why can't I do the same? Fourthly, you shouldn't be so confident and reveal your true strength so early. I'm sure you've heard of the saying, know thyself and know thy enemy, and thou shalt be victorious in every battle. Throughout the entire process, Qin Feiyang's tone was extremely flat, as if he was narrating an unimportant matter. But when the first prince of the dragons heard these words, he immediately felt a sense of unease. This was because Qin Feiyang was far too calm at this moment. He could even sense a hint of mockery in his words. But the most terrifying part was the third part. You can hide your cultivation and strength, so why can't I? Could it be, boom? Before the first prince of the dragon race could think of such a thing, a terrifying aura erupted like a volcano. The first prince of the dragons was stunned. As he had expected, this person was also hiding his cultivation. This is the aura of a great perfection dominator. I didn't expect Qin Feiyang to be a great perfection dominator. No wonder he didn't panic at all. The surrounding onlookers were also enlightened at this moment. So fast. He Zhongtian, who was standing beside the second princess of the dragons, muttered. The last time he came to Seven-Star City, Qin Feiyang was only a great perfection dominator, but in just 10 days, he had broken through to great perfection dominator without anyone noticing. It could be said that the exposure of Qin Feiyang's cultivation caused everyone present to feel extreme shock. Even Elder Hua and the other two were shocked. Although Elder Hua had sent a message to Qin Feiyang in the morning, he didn't pay attention to Qin Feiyang's cultivation. Even he thought that Qin Feiyang's cultivation was still at great perfection dominator. Of course. The ones who were the most shocked were Bing Runing and the second princess of the dragons. Although there was only one step between great perfection dominator and great perfection dominator, the difference was like heaven and earth. No matter how strong a great perfection dominator was, he would be suppressed by a great perfection dominator. However, once a great perfection dominator stepped into this realm, it was equivalent to stepping onto the top of the pyramid of the sky cloud realm. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that this step was like a carp leaping over the dragon gate. Especially for someone like Qin Feiyang who had grasped two supreme laws, once he stepped into the great perfection dominator realm, he would be an invincible existence. Whether it was his status or identity, it would instantly soar by a large margin. It could be said that if it wasn't based on seniority and strength, even Elder Hua and the other big shots would have to respectfully address Qin Feiyang as senior. After stepping into the great perfection dominator realm, Qin Feiyang already had the ability to suppress all the super forces. However, he couldn't accept it. As the first prince of the dragons, as the successor of the Golden Dragon clan, he couldn't lose here. Because he had already obtained the Supreme Profound and had promised his clan that he would definitely defeat Qin Feiyang. If he lost here today, not only would he suffer a fatal psychological trauma, but even the Golden Dragon clan wouldn't let him off easily. At that time, he, the high and mighty first prince, would definitely fall from the altar and become a street rat that everyone wanted to beat up. He couldn't help but collapse just thinking about such a miserable situation. Boom! In an instant, the four Supreme Profound collided with a loud explosion that shook the heavens and earth. The supreme profound of the thunder law was simply like a withered tree in the face of the supreme profound of the supreme profound. It collapsed instantly. Then, the two supreme profound blasted toward the god of destruction. The result was the same. In the face of the two supreme profound of the supreme profound, the first prince of the dragon's destruction law was extremely weak and shattered in the void. Puff! He coughed out a mouthful of blood as he retreated. His face was deathly pale. I'm not being arrogant. It's just that you've been traumatized and think that I'm being arrogant. Although compared to the other princes and princesses, you're indeed more outstanding, in the end, you're still a good-for-nothing with a weak heart. Qin Feiyang shook his head. A terrifying aura shook the world. The two supreme profound blasted the sky like lightning and blasted toward the first prince of the dragons. Just as the first prince of the dragons was about to die under the supreme profound, a dazzling golden light suddenly erupted from his body. In the next instant, a golden barrier appeared, about 100 feet wide. The first prince of the dragons stood in the middle of the barrier and looked at the two supreme profound with a sinister smile. Boom! The two supreme profound blasted toward the golden barrier, but it only trembled a few times before returning to normal. What? What's that? Looking at this scene, the spectators were dumbfounded. This was too unbelievable. One had to know, those weren't ordinary laws, nor were they ordinary supreme profound. They were the karma law and the destruction law. How could he block them? He must be dreaming. Chapter 3582. Long Chen shook his head and said, "White-eyed wolf, you're not being honest." "What do you mean?" The white-eyed wolf looked at Long Chen suspiciously. "Brother Qin broke through to the sovereign realm and kept it from me. When I said that Brother Qin would be in a tough battle, you must have mocked me in your heart." Long Chen was helpless. "Haha," the white-eyed wolf laughed. Long Chen rolled his eyes and looked at the golden barrier. He smiled and said, "However, with this golden dragon domain, even if Brother Qin breaks through to the sovereign realm, he'll still be in a tough battle. Golden dragon domain, fire dragon domain, these things seem to be forbidden techniques. It's supported by vitality. It's fine if you use it to escape, but if you use it to fight, you'll just be digging your own grave." The white-eyed wolf smiled disdainfully. Long Chen was slightly stunned and looked at the white-eyed wolf in surprise. The white-eyed wolf said indifferently, "Don't look at me like that. It's not like I haven't fought with dragons before." Long Chen laughed involuntarily. He then looked at the dragon crown prince in the golden dragon domain and muttered, "How are you going to break out of this deadlock?" It was just as the white-eyed wolf said. The golden dragon's domain and the fire dragon's domain might be useful for escaping, but using them in a battle was simply courting death. This was because you had to use vitality as the price to maintain the golden dragon domain. You didn't have the qualifications to continue fighting. For example, now. Although Qin Feiyang couldn't break out of the golden dragon domain, as long as he delayed the dragon crown prince, he would be the final victor. This was because he only needed to delay. Once the first prince of the dragon clan ran out of life force, the golden dragon domain would disappear. Therefore, he didn't need to forcefully break out of the golden dragon domain. "Do you think I'll escape?" "Let me tell you, I won't." The first prince of the dragons roared, and the power of various laws surged out. The law of destruction, the law of lightning, and the law of death. Among the remaining 4 laws, there was actually one of the strongest laws. Obviously. The law of death was something the crown prince of the dragons had truly comprehended on his own. As for the law of destruction, it was the supreme inheritance of the golden dragon clan. Apart from the law of destruction and the law of thunder, the rest of the 6 laws had already reached the 5th profundity. Boom! As the first prince of the dragons waved his hand, the various profound abilities turned into a torrent that surged toward Qin Feiyang. But for this, Qin Feiyang just smiled faintly. There were no fancy tricks. Just the supreme profundities of the laws of destruction and the laws of karma were enough to crush them. As time passed, the dragon race's first prince's appearance started to age. His heart was filled with despair. Although the golden dragon domain had a very strong defensive power, it didn't have much destructive power. It wasn't a problem to keep his life, but he had to escape from this desperate situation as soon as possible. Otherwise, when his vitality was exhausted, he would directly fall without the need for the other party to make a move. Unexpected, the little princess of the dragons murmured. In fact, she didn't think highly of Qin Feiyang at first. The reason why she still cooperated with Qin Feiyang was because she wanted to give it a try. Secondly, she wanted to let Qin Feiyang and the first prince of the dragons fight each other. When there was an opportunity, she would stand out and reap the benefits. But right now, the strength that Qin Feiyang displayed was a completely one-sided situation. It was obviously impossible to reap the benefits of the fisherman. Now, she didn't want to think about other things for the time being. She only hoped that Qin Feiyang could successfully kill the first prince of the dragons. This could also be considered as fulfilling a wish in her heart. The first prince of the dragons was still struggling. Although he also had the Eye of Heaven, the situation was the same as Qin Feiyang's Eye of Heaven. Right now, it was of little use and had no use. At this moment, his hair had already become dry and snow-white. His face was also full of wrinkles. His entire person was like an old man in his 70s or 80s. Has it really come to an end? I can't accept this. I am the first prince of the dragons, the future successor of the Golden Dragon clan. How can I be defeated in the hands of a human? He roared in his heart. But the despair in his heart surged out uncontrollably, constantly destroying his fighting spirit. About 10 breaths later, his originally strong body was now like dry wood. His breath was dying, and his vitality had reached the end. With a crack, the golden dragon domain disintegrated on its own. You've won this battle. The first prince of the dragons looked at Qin Feiyang with a miserable expression and slowly collapsed. Qin Feiyang silently looked at the first prince of the dragons. Although they were old enemies, the first prince of the dragons' final performance made him look at him in a new light. Because he did not escape and had been fighting until now. He did not activate the sovereign divine weapon, nor did he ask the second princess of the dragons and the others to help. This meant that this person had indeed relied on his own ability to defeat him. In short, at the last moment, the first prince of the dragons' actions could be considered a real man. You didn't lose to me. You lost to your own conceit. Qin Feiyang said indifferently. Yes. At this moment, I understand why I lost to you, but a loss is a loss. I have nothing to say. Cherish the Eye of Heaven, don't let down its power, the first prince of the dragons said weakly. As his voice fell, a purple gold eye swept out from between his eyebrows. It was the Eye of Heaven. Treat it well, cherish it. Looking at the Eye of Heaven, the first prince of the dragons murmured. In the end, he fell to the sea below. The moment the Eye of Heaven appeared, the fighting soul in Qin Feiyang's body started to stir. He could clearly feel a desire from it. Boom! In the next moment, the purple gold dragon soul appeared on its own. The Eye of Heaven between his eyebrows opened on its own. Rays of divine light surged out and enveloped the first prince of the dragon's Eye of Heaven. But at this moment, the fire dragon, who was lying on Long Chen's shoulder, suddenly jumped out and swept toward the Eye of Heaven. You're courting death. The white-eyed wolf suddenly stood up and activated instant time, instantly blocking in front of the fire dragon. This was because it had expected that the fire dragon would definitely interfere. After all, once the Eye of Heaven merged, Qin Feiyang would become a truly invincible existence. Therefore, it had been paying attention to the fire dragon. You're the one courting death. The fire dragon sneered, and the supreme intent of the law of destruction roared out. Boom! At the same time, the white-eyed wolf's body fought. The supreme intents of the law of karma, the law of death, the law of spacetime, and the law of destruction were all activated in an instant. What? It actually has so many supreme intents. And they're all supreme intents. The surrounding crowd was instantly shocked. The instant time, the law of spacetime, and the other supreme intents. These were the supreme intents of the 5 supreme intents. Terrifying, truly terrifying. However, the fire dragon had a look of disdain. So what if it had more supreme intents? The difference in cultivation could never be made up for. The law of destruction charged forward. Rumble. Boom. Boom. The white-eyed wolf's supreme intents of the 4 supreme intents shattered on the spot. If it were any other supreme intents, even if the white-eyed wolf was only a perfected dominator, it would still be invincible. However, the fire dragon also had a supreme intent of the supreme intents of the supreme intents of the supreme intents. This was the factor that made it unbeatable. Immediately after, the law of destruction blasted toward the white-eyed wolf. The white-eyed wolf let out a miserable groan and was sent flying, blood gushing out of its body. If it hadn't broken the limits of its physical body, the fire dragon's attack would have been enough to kill it. At this moment, because of the white-eyed wolf's obstruction, Qin Fei Yang's eye of heaven emitted a purple-gold beam of light that connected the dragon's eye of heaven to the first prince's eye of heaven like a divine chain. The moment the two were connected, a majestic aura surged out in all directions with the two as the center. At the same time, the dragon race's crown prince's eye of heaven also slowly flew towards Qin Fei Yang's eye of heaven. Don't even think about successfully merging. The fire dragon's murderous intent soared as the law of destruction madly charged toward Qin Fei Yang. Bastard! The white-eyed wolf roared as it activated all its supreme intents and once again charged in front of the fire dragon. You want to die that much? Okay. This emperor will fulfill your wish. The fire dragon raised his eyebrows as his murderous intent surged. The law of destruction's supreme intents were like a terrifying god as it shattered the white-eyed wolf's supreme intents and then slapped at the white-eyed wolf. Roar! With a howl, the white-eyed wolf's physical body cracked open, and blood dyed the sky red as it smashed into the sea below. After the white-eyed wolf's delay, the dragon's eye of heaven was about to reach Qin Fei Yang. The fire dragon panicked. If Qin Fei Yang really managed to merge with the eye of heaven, then he would be able to replicate both the law of destruction and the heaven-defying divine art. Qin Fei Yang's strength was already frightening enough. If the eye of heaven successfully evolved, then he would be able to kill any god or demon that stood in his way. With Big Bro here, don't even think about stopping little Qin Z. With a roar, the white-eyed wolf charged out once more, exuding an unparalleled aura with all its supreme intents. An unkillable cockroach. The fire dragon raised his eyebrows and looked at the second princess and the others. He shouted, "Hurry up and stop Qin Fei Yang. Otherwise, you will all become his stepping stones in the future." The second princess and the others shuddered as they looked at Qin Fei Yang with murderous intent in their eyes. In the next moment, with a loud bang, sovereign divine weapons appeared one after another. The white dragon sword, the blood dragon blade, the black dragon mirror, there were a total of 8 sovereign divine weapons. Retreat! Elder Hua shouted at the crowd when he saw the situation. He had never thought that this battle would turn into a battle between the sovereign divine weapons. Hearing Elder Hua's roar, the crowd immediately turned around and fled for their lives. They knew that once the sovereign divine weapons started fighting, only death would await them if they stayed. The only ones who didn't move were the young man and Long Chen. Long Chen's eyes flickered, but he didn't stop the fire dragon. No one knew what he was thinking. As for the young man, he still looked sleepy. Hurry up and kill him. As the dragon clan's princes and princesses shouted, the white dragon's sword and the other sovereign divine weapons immediately charged towards Qin Feiyang. Faced with such a situation, there was no doubt that he would die. However, Qin Feiyang didn't despair because of this. With a clang, the ancient castle appeared, and its divine aura shook the surroundings. Clang. Chapter 3583. You're underestimating me, Qin Feiyang. Since I dared to come to White Crane Island to accept the challenge, I'm already prepared to deal with you. Fire Phoenix Sword, Fire Phoenix Divine Jade. Qin Feiyang roared. With a loud clang, the two sovereign divine weapons flew out of Princess Wufeng's body. They streaked across the sky like lightning and arrived in front of Qin Feiyang. What? The second princess of the dragons, as well as Bing Running's group, all looked at this scene in shock. The two sovereign divine weapons were actually helping Qin Feiyang. Sister, what's going on? Pyrotechnic Glow and the two women also looked at Princess Wufeng in surprise. This is the agreement between him and father. The two sovereign divine weapons will now listen to Qin Feiyang's orders. Princess Wufeng transmitted her voice. They will listen to Qin Feiyang's orders. Pyrotechnic Glow and the other two looked at each other. With the appearance of the Fire Phoenix Sword and Fire Phoenix Divine Jade, the Ancient Castle, the Horsetail Whisk, and the Grim Reaper's Sword, Qin Feiyang now had 5 sovereign divine weapons. Although it wasn't enough to deal with the dragon's 8 sovereign divine weapons, it was enough to delay them for a while. On the other side, the white-eyed wolf was once again sent flying by the fire dragon, and his body was torn apart. I'll send you to hell right now. The fire dragon roared and charged toward the white-eyed wolf. Who are you sending to hell? Did you ask for my permission? However, at this moment, a black-clothed young man descended from the sky and slapped at the fire dragon. Boom! A wave of death energy rolled out from the black-clothed young man's palm. Caught off guard, the fire dragon was sent flying. Madman! The white-eyed wolf floated in the void and looked at the black-clothed young man in front of him in surprise. That's right. This person was the lunatic who had been separated from him for a long time. Madman's appearance not only surprised Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf, but also surprised the second princess of the dragons. Hey! The madman looked at the white-eyed wolf and bared his teeth. I didn't expect you to be in such a sorry state. You're really embarrassing me. Scram! White-eyed wolf's face darkened. Tell me and you're still unhappy. Madman pouted and looked at the fire dragon. You dare to bully my brother? You really don't know your place. Boom! As his voice fell, a terrifying aura erupted. He had reached the peak sovereign realm. Following closely, the Edict of Death and Edict of Destruction surged out. A dark red waning moon and a giant statue appeared above the madman's head. Damn you! The white-eyed wolf roared. Not only had he raised his cultivation to the sovereign realm, but he had also comprehended the supreme profundities of the laws of death and the laws of destruction. Just how had the madman been cultivating on Skycloud Island all these years? Huh, did you see that? This is my disciple. At the same time, the Hall of Famers was also secretly laughing. Looking at the Alliance Master and Vice Alliance Master, as well as the Divine Python couple, his expression was full of pride. The Alliance Master and the others rolled their eyes at him. We know your disciple is outstanding, but there's no need to deliberately show off. However, this little madman was indeed powerful. After not seeing him for a while, he had comprehended 2 supreme profundities of the laws of death. This strength was not inferior to Qin Feiyang at all. Boom! With a wave of the madman's hand, the 2 supreme profundities immediately charged toward the fire dragon. The fire dragon's pupils suddenly shrank. The supreme profundities of the law of destruction surged as he frantically attacked. But there was no suspense. The madman's two supreme profundities completely crushed him. Then, the two supreme profundities blasted onto the fire dragon's body, and a terrifying fluctuation instantly drowned the fire dragon. Hurry up! Seeing how powerful the madman was, the second princess's eyes trembled. She looked at the dragon mirror and the other sovereign divine weapons and shouted, "Hurry up!" The 8 sovereign divine weapons crazily attacked. The 5 sovereign divine weapons, including the ancient castle, desperately protected Qin Feiyang. For a moment, although the ancient castle and the other sovereign divine weapons were in a passive situation, they were still barely able to resist. Ice Phoenix Sword. Black Ice Divine Hammer, Black Ice Divine Bow, go help. Seeing this, Bing Running shouted. The 3 sovereign divine weapons immediately rushed out and went straight to the battlefield. Bing Running, what are you doing? Princess Huafeng shouted. Bing Running sneered. I should be the one asking you this. Why are you helping Qin Feiyang? Princess Huafeng's face was as dark as water. Sister, do you need my help? Pyrotechnic Glow said in a deep voice. Princess Huafeng said, nonsense, we have to protect Qin Feiyang. Pyrotechnic Glow's eyes turned cold when he heard this. Fire Phoenix Blade, Divine Phoenix Spear, protect Qin Feiyang. Following 2 loud clangs, a long saber made of scarlet flames and a long spear made of fire flew out of Huazihui's body. They tore through the sky like lightning and attacked the 3 sovereign divine weapons. In fact, Qin Feiyang's side was still at a disadvantage. If this continued, Qin Feiyang's side would definitely lose. After all, the difference in the number of sovereign divine weapons was too great. But fortunately, the ancient castle's sovereign divine weapons weren't fighting with their lives on the line. They just needed to block the Ice Phoenix Sword and the other sovereign divine weapons. So many sovereign divine weapons. The madman's expression froze, but then a sinister smile appeared on his face. He glanced at the dragons and said, I came prepared. Clang! Boom! With a series of loud clangs, rays of divine light flew out of the madman's body. There were blades, spears, swords, halberds, everything. The aura they emitted was that of a sovereign divine weapon. There were 8 of them. What? The white-eyed wolf looked at the madman, dumbfounded. The dragon race's group, Bing Running's group, and even Princess Huafeng's group were shocked to the extreme. How could there be 8 sovereign divine weapons? Even Long Chen and the young man looked at the madman, dumbfounded. This guy was too abnormal. 8 sovereign divine weapons, the ancient castle, the horsetail whisk, the sword of the Grim Reaper, the Fire Phoenix Divine Jade, the Fire Phoenix Sword, the Fire Phoenix Blade, and the Divine Phoenix Spear. There were a total of 15 sovereign divine weapons. In just an instant, Qin Feiyang's side turned the situation around. This was because the dragons only had 11 sovereign divine weapons, including Bing Running's 3. I wanted to help them, but I didn't expect them to have such a terrifying foundation. The young man shook his head and yawned lazily. The snow python on his shoulder smiled bitterly when it heard this. Long Chen's eyes flashed when he heard the young man's words. He was here to help Qin Feiyang. It seemed like the relationship between the two was not simple. Kiki, the madman, took a step forward and landed beside Qin Feiyang with the white-eyed wolf. He glanced at Bing Running the dragons and said arrogantly, continue if you dare. See how I'll deal with you. Yeah, weren't you very arrogant before? Come, come, come. The white-eyed wolf was also extremely arrogant. Previously, his physical body had not been destroyed, but it had been reconstructed. After consuming the Divine Life Pill, Primordial Sea Divine Pill, and Divine Sun Divine Pill, his broken physical body, Sea of Qi, and Sea of Consciousness were all recovering rapidly. Looking at the ingrate and lunatic, Bing Running and the rest of the dragon tribe's people's faces sank. Boom! It was at this moment. The dragon's eye of heaven finally met with Qin Feiyang's eye of heaven. The moment the two met, a dazzling divine light burst out and merged with each other. At this moment, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the sky. Strong winds howled and gave birth to all kinds of strange phenomena. In just a few breaths, a mighty aura rolled out from above Qin Feiyang. Everyone looked up at the eye of heaven. It was completely different from the previous eye of heaven. At this moment, the eye of heaven was black and white, like a mysterious taiji pattern. It was as if there was a world within it, with mountains and rivers, the sun, the moon, the stars, and thousands of gods and demons. That eye of heaven seemed to be able to steal the sun and steal the fortune of heaven and earth. This is the complete eye of heaven, Long Chen murmured. Everyone present couldn't suppress a sense of awe in their hearts. It was as if there was really an eye of heaven looking down on all living beings. Senior brother, activate your law profound. Qin Feiyang suddenly shouted. The madman quivered and the law of death and the law of destruction roared out. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and the eye of heaven sprinkled a black and white divine light, enveloping the madman's too profound. Immediately after, under countless shocked gazes, the purple-gold dragon god also rapidly manifested two supreme profound meanings in the air above it. Success. The madman's eyes trembled. As far as Qin Feiyang was concerned, this was a great transformation. It could be said that the evolution of the eye of heaven allowed Qin Feiyang's combat strength to instantly increase by countless times. Qin Feiyang looked at the two replicated profound and couldn't help but laugh. The next moment, he looked at Bing running with a cold light in his eyes. The two profound meanings instantly shattered the sky as they madly rushed towards Bing running. Your Highness, be careful. The white-haired old man, the white-haired old woman, and the middle-aged man took a step forward and the power of law surged out. The white-haired old woman activated the law of ice's profound. The middle-aged man activated the law of death's profound. The white-haired old man waved his hand and a surge of space-time energy rolled out. The law of spacetime's profound also instantly appeared. It could be said that no one present could stop the supreme profundities of the two supreme laws and the supreme profundities of the law of ice. However, Qin Feiyang's face was full of ridicule. Copy. Following his shout, the white-haired old woman and the other two's profound were also successfully copied. In this way, in addition to the madman's two profound, there were a total of 5 profound. The 5 supreme ultimates brought with them a torrential might as they blasted out. With a loud bang, the 3 supreme ultimates of the white-haired old lady and the other 2 were shattered in the void. Then, the 5 supreme ultimates blasted towards Bing running and the other 3. Protect Her Highness. The white-haired old man roared. A supreme-grade heaven-defying armor appeared on their bodies. But it was meaningless. Facing the 5 profound, it shattered on the spot. Immediately after, the 5 profound meanings blasted onto the 3 of them, and a world-destroying aura burst forth, instantly engulfing the white-haired old woman, the other 2, and Bing running. Screams rang out. In just a few breaths, the 3's bodies shattered. Bing running was even more miserable, and even her divine soul was annihilated. Seeing that the 4 of them were about to lose their lives, the Ice Phoenix Sword, and the other 2 sovereigns' divine weapons rushed back and swept up their divine souls before retreating far away. Chapter 3584. Looking at the 3 sovereign divine weapons and the divine souls of Bing Running's group, everyone present couldn't help but shudder. The eye of heaven was too terrifying to be able to replicate the ultimate profundity. One had to know that the white-haired old woman and the other 2 were super experts, but in front of Qin Feiyang, they were as weak as babies. The current Qin Feiyang was simply invincible. From now on, the demon hall will step onto the path of light. Elder Hua laughed inwardly. Although Qin Feiyang might not be a match for the 4 forbidden zones, he believed that it was only a matter of time before he surpassed them. If even the 4 forbidden zones were suppressed by Qin Feiyang, the Demon Hall would definitely benefit from it. Good, good, good. Our Rogue Cultivator Alliance will step onto unprecedented glory because of these little guys. The Deputy Alliance Leader, the Hall of Famers, was also very excited. How could they not be? Qin Feiyang and Feng Zi were their disciples. The two of them had achieved what they had today, so they felt proud too. It could be said that the Demon Hall and the Rogue Cultivator Alliance benefited the most from the rise of Qin Feiyang and the others. Of course, there was also the Heavenly Joy Pavilion. The Heavenly Joy Pavilion's despair was inextricably linked to Qin Feiyang. Although Yueqing and Yi Miao's cultivation were not very high, they had chosen the right side. If they had betrayed Qin Feiyang in the face of Pei Tianhong's threat, the Heavenly Joy Pavilion would have disappeared from the Sky Cloud realm. In fact, not only the Demon Hall, but the Rogue Cultivator Alliance and the Heavenly Joy Pavilion were also making a huge gamble. In the end, it turned out that they had made the right bet. In the blink of an eye, the 3 sovereign divine weapons carried Bing Running and the others far away and turned back to look at Qin Feiyang. Because their physical bodies had been destroyed, the 4 of them had revealed their true forms. They were all ice phoenixes. At this moment, their eyes were filled with fear. They looked at Qin Feiyang as if they were looking at the Divine King. This is the legendary divine beast, Ice Phoenix. It seems that the so-called Feng people are all phoenixes. Usually, it's hard to even see a phoenix. But now, a Feng people actually came out. How many phoenixes are there in a clan? Everyone's eyes were filled with shock as they looked at the divine souls of Bing Running's group. But what shocked them the most was that even the divine beast phoenix could not withstand a single blow from Qin Feiyang. Pyrotechnic glow swept his gaze over Bing Running and the others. Suddenly, his spirits rose as he looked at Princess Huifeng and transmitted his voice, "I understand, sis." Ah! Princess Huifeng was stunned. What did she understand? This sentence was enough to prove that the fire dragon's previous actions were not ordered by him. When the fire dragon heard this, his eyes trembled. Obviously, Long Chen wouldn't help. He regretted it now. He knew that these 2 people and 1 wolf were difficult to deal with, so why did he take the initiative to provoke them? In fact, at that time, he thought that he would definitely be able to stop Qin Feiyang from fusing with the Eye of Heaven. After all, there was the help of the second princess of the dragons and the others. But he didn't expect that frenzy would appear halfway. Not only did his strength increase by leaps and bounds, but he also brought 8 sovereign divine weapons, directly shattering his wishful thinking. Qin Feiyang took a step forward and swept his blade-like gaze at the fire dragon. Others don't know about the grudge between you and me, but those who know us well are well aware of it. So let's not talk nonsense and start directly. The fire dragon's eyes sank. He looked at Long Chen, then at the young man, and finally at the castle and the other sovereign divine weapons. Then he suddenly turned around and fled without looking back. What a joke! Even if he fought to the death to defeat Qin Feiyang, there was still frenzy and 15 sovereign divine weapons. Also, as a nemesis for so many years, he understood Qin Feiyang's personality and knew that Qin Feiyang was determined to kill him. So in the end, no matter what, the one who would die would definitely be him. Only a fool would accept a sure-death situation. The blood mark between his eyebrows released a dazzling light. With the help of the blood mark, even if it was just teleportation, its speed would be comparable to that of a supreme-level auxiliary divine spell. However, it wasn't easy to wait for the fire dragon to take the initiative to appear. Would Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf let him escape so easily? Obviously not. Seal this sea area. Following Qin Feiyang's low shout, the ancient castle, Horsetail Whisk, Grim Reaper's sword, Flaming Phoenix Divine Jade, and Flaming Phoenix Sword immediately erupted with world-destroying divine might and swept in all directions. Seal the sea area. The second princess of the dragons was shocked. She looked at the black dragon mirror next to her and shouted, "Hurry up and leave." The eyes of the third prince and the others were also trembling. Once this sea area was sealed by Qin Feiyang's sovereign divine weapon, they would be like turtles in a jar and wouldn't be able to escape. Once the fire dragon was dealt with, they would be the next. Clang! The black dragon mirror and the other divine weapons of the 8 sovereigns quickly came to life. They took the princes, princesses, and their followers and fled for their lives. Escape? The mad scientist frowned. Don't worry about them for now. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. The second princess of the dragons and the others weren't comparable to the fire dragon. Although the fire dragon was powerful and had the blood mark, he didn't have a sovereign divine weapon. And the second princess of the dragons and the others all had a sovereign divine weapon. It wouldn't be easy to kill them, and there was also the unfathomable Longchen. Not to mention his identity as the son of the ice dragon, Qin Feiyang was quite wary of his evolved domain of divinity. More importantly, if an all-out war really broke out, with so many sovereign divine weapons, it would be a devastating disaster for the Sky Cloud Ocean. In addition, if he fought with the dragons and the others, the fire dragon might take advantage of the chaos to escape. If he had to choose between the fire dragon and the second princess of the dragons, he would definitely choose to kill the fire dragon without hesitation. Because this wasn't just a personal grudge, it was also a request from the fire python. So, he didn't care about anything else, but this big problem had to be dealt with today. The 5 sovereign divine weapons crossed the void and appeared thousands of miles away in the blink of an eye. Their divine power was vast and mighty as they directly sealed off the sea area. Under the lead of the sovereign divine weapons, the second princess of the dragons and the others escaped the sealed area. But no matter how fast the fire dragon was, could he be faster than the sovereign divine weapons? As for Long Chen and the youth, they were still sitting on the side. One was drinking tea and the other was drinking wine. They didn't care at all. Do you really want to force me? The fire dragon looked at the sealed area and turned to glare at Qin Feiyang. You and I are destined to fight. What else is there to say? Qin Feiyang took a step forward and walked toward the fire dragon step by step. His blood-stained hair fluttered in the wind, like a god-demon descending to the world. Okay. The fire dragon's expression immediately turned malevolent. A terrifying dragon's might erupted from it. However, it wasn't directed at Qin Feiyang. Instead, it was directed at the surrounding crowd. These people didn't have sovereign divine weapons and knew that Qin Feiyang wouldn't hurt them, so they didn't escape. At this moment, seeing the fire dragon coming toward them, their faces changed color. This bastard is crazy. Qin Feiyang is right in front of you. Why didn't you go to Qin Feiyang and come to us instead? Bullying the weak, is there a sense of accomplishment? No matter how strong you become, you're still the same. Qin Feiyang's eyes were filled with disgust. Back at the divine site, the fire dragon used the fire python's father as a scapegoat to escape from him. It was also because of this that the fire python's father died. Today, he was going to use these innocent people to threaten him. How could he be worthy of being a divine beast? As a divine dragon, did he not have any sense of shame? Qin Feiyang shouted, "Ancient castle, move everyone." Boom! The 5 sovereigns' divine weapons surged toward the crowd with overwhelming might. In the blink of an eye, everyone who was watching the battle appeared outside the barrier. This included Elder Hua, He Zhongtian, the Alliance Master, and Princess Huafeng. The Fire Phoenix Saber and the Divine Phoenix Spear had also returned to Pyrotechnic Glow's side. After all, their help was no longer needed. Moreover, they had to protect Pyrotechnic Glow and the others against any sudden attacks from Bing Running and the other 3. Chapter 3585. Damn it! Looking at the empty sea around it, the fire dragon was flustered and exasperated. Don't do such pointless things again. Your only choice now is to do your best to defeat me. Qin Feiyang stepped into the sky with an imposing aura. Although he had been severely injured when fighting with the first prince of the dragons, he had taken the divine life pill immediately. Coupled with the healing power of the fire of life and bloodline power, his injuries were basically healed. Hearing this, the fire dragon turned around and stared at Qin Feiyang gloomily. If I defeat you, will you let me go? Of course. As long as you have the ability. Qin Feiyang nodded. Okay. Then come at me. The fire dragon suddenly roared, and its body instantly expanded to more than 10,000 feet. It was like a majestic mountain range, and its dragon might filled the sky. Boom! A huge tail smashed the sky and slapped toward Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang punched out, and the power in his body surged out. In an instant, the fist and the huge tail collided, but it was Qin Feiyang who was sent flying. No way! The white-eyed wolf was stunned. What do you mean no way? Don't forget, he has activated the power of the blood mark. Whether it's physical body, speed, or power, he is no weaker than old Qin. The madman pouted. Huh? You seem to know that we have broken the limits of our physical bodies. The white-eyed wolf looked at the madman in surprise. Nonsense, I came to White Crane Island before you. It's just that you didn't notice. The madman rolled his eyes. Came before us? The white-eyed wolf was slightly taken aback and asked suspiciously, then why did you hide in the sky without saying a word? I wanted to give you a surprise. The madman bared his teeth. Surprise? The white-eyed wolf was speechless. Bringing 8 Dominator divine weapons at once? Was the shock not enough? Although you've broken through the limits of your physical body, I'm telling you, don't underestimate this emperor. This emperor's strength is not something a small character like the first prince of the dragons can compare to. The fire dragon laughed wildly. With a flash, he disappeared before Qin Feiyang's eyes. His speed was so fast that it was almost impossible for the naked eye to catch him. The next moment, Qin Feiyang felt a great sense of crisis coming from behind him. Needless to say, the fire dragon was definitely behind him. Boom! Without any hesitation, he turned around and threw a punch, which collided with the fire dragon's dragon claw. The fire dragon's strength was truly terrifying. Qin Feiyang was once again sent flying, blood gushing out. I didn't expect the fire dragon to be so strong. Yeah. This is simply unexpected. The surrounding crowd was shocked beyond words. Qin Feiyang's physical body was comparable to a supreme-level heaven-defying divine weapon, but he couldn't defeat the fire dragon. Could it be that the fire dragon's physical body had broken through the next limit? Wait. Was there a limit above the supreme-level heaven-defying divine weapon? No. Look at the blood word mark between his eyebrows. His strength should be related to the blood word mark. Everyone was discussing. The battle between Qin Feiyang and the fire dragon became more and more intense. After repeated tests, Qin Feiyang discovered that the fire dragon's physical body and strength were indeed above his. The blood word mark was indeed terrifying. In fact, the fire dragon's strength had always been weak. Just like the battle in the Nether King's Hell. If it wasn't for the blood word mark, the fire dragon wouldn't have been able to fight against him. However, the current him was no longer the same as before. Boom! The cause and effect law and the destruction law were both activated. It was as if 2 gods and demons had appeared in the world. Accompanied by a scream, the fire dragon's huge body was sent flying. Its dragon scales were shattered and its body was covered in blood. Dragon blood dyed the sky red. His physical body and strength are indeed inferior, but in terms of the profound laws, old Qin has the absolute advantage. Frenzy laughed. It shouldn't be that simple. The white-eyed wolf shook his head. What do you mean? Frenzy was taken aback and looked at the white-eyed wolf suspiciously. The white-eyed wolf said, I don't know, but I have a feeling that the power of the blood word mark hasn't really erupted yet. When did you start to believe in intuition? Frenzy was speechless. Wasn't it old Qin's specialty to believe in intuition? Sometimes, you have to believe in intuition. The white-eyed wolf whispered. You're really infuriating. The fire dragon roared and activated the destruction law's profound laws. A huge hand covered the sky and slammed toward Qin Feiyang's two profound laws. Qin Feiyang looked at the destruction god, and his gaze suddenly trembled. He looked at the center of the destruction god's eyebrows and discovered that there was also a blood character imprint. No way. Frenzy also noticed this scene and his face was full of shock. It seems that my intuition has really appeared. The white-eyed wolf muttered. But this was too unbelievable. The blood word mark could actually be added to the profound laws. The profound laws were already very powerful. With the addition of the blood word mark, wouldn't it be invincible? As expected. Along with a loud explosion, Qin Feiyang's two great ultimates were shattered in the void, and he spat out a mouthful of old blood. How is this possible? Qin Feiyang's eyes were also filled with disbelief. With the addition of the blood word mark, the destruction god's lethality had far surpassed the profound laws. This is the strength of this emperor. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? Wrong, I'm afraid of your sovereign divine weapon. As long as you don't use your sovereign divine weapon, I can kill you as easily as stepping on an ant. The fire dragon laughed maniacally. The destruction god stomped toward Qin Feiyang. The terrifying power caused the void to collapse and turn into chaos. Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank. He used the spacetime step and retreated like lightning. But the fire dragon seemed to have expected Qin Feiyang to do this. With a flash, he appeared above Qin Feiyang and smashed his tail down. Dong! Qin Feiyang's entire body fell into the sea below like a blood-stained meteor, causing huge waves. So powerful. Old Qin is completely at a disadvantage. The mad scientist and the white-eyed wolf couldn't help but frown. If this situation continued, Qin Feiyang would really have to activate his slaughter domain or use his sovereign divine weapon to fight. So the real enemy is him. Elder Hua and the others finally understood. Compared to the first prince of the dragon clan, this fire dragon was much stronger. In the past, people like Elder Hua had heard a lot about the fire dragon from Qin Feiyang and the others. But in their opinion, no matter how strong the fire dragon was, he couldn't be Qin Feiyang's match. They didn't expect him to be this strong. This was the first time they had seen the fire dragon in action. They were deeply shocked by the fire dragon's strength. Without the slaughter domain or the sovereign divine weapon, what are you? You're nothing. The fire dragon looked down at the sea below and laughed. What are you if you don't have the blood word mark? The mad scientist said unhappily. That's right. Before the battle, we didn't say that we weren't allowed to activate the slaughter domain or use the sovereign divine weapon. But now, little Qin Zi has voluntarily given up on these methods. Instead of thanking him, you're still so arrogant. May I ask, who gave you the courage? How can you be so thick-skinned? The white-eyed wolf also had a look of disdain. What a joke. Did I say not to activate the slaughter domain? He was the one who was arrogant and didn't want to activate the slaughter domain. Now, he's mocking me. Who's the thick-skinned one here? The fire dragon sneered. The white-eyed wolf's mouth twitched. He shook his head and said, I'm ashamed of my inferiority to your shamelessness. I'm also very impressed. The mad scientist was also speechless. After being in the martial world for so many years, what kind of person hadn't he seen? But no one could compare to the fire dragon's shamelessness. Splash! A huge wave rose, and Qin Fei Yang broke through it. A cold light flashed in the fire dragon's eyes. The destruction god, who was standing in the sky above the sea, immediately slapped out. Very strong indeed. But that's all. Qin Fei Yang said indifferently and activated his 3,000 incarnations. He finally activated the 3,000 incarnations. It seems that the fire dragon is indeed much stronger than the first prince. The demon hall master muttered. Of course. With the fire dragon's strength, he can instantly kill us, Chu Yun said with a serious expression. Chu Yun said with a serious expression. This was the first time she had seen such a terrifying existence. It's been a long time. The fire dragon scanned the 3,000 incarnations, and scenes of the past appeared in his mind. But then, his eyes were filled with disdain as he roared, 3,000 incarnations are useless. You dare to look down on us? Beat it. The 3,000 incarnations were furious and activated their two supreme profound meanings. 1,000 of them charged toward the destruction god. The other 2,000 charged toward the fire dragon. Fuck. These are the 3,000 incarnations that the first prince of the dragons has been talking about. What the hell is this? They actually have independent consciousness and can activate their supreme profound meanings. Hua Zihue was dumbfounded when he saw this. No wonder it was called Qin Fei Yang's strongest trump card. Just think about it. A single Qin Fei Yang was already so terrifying, let alone 3,000 Qin Fei Yangs. They were simply existences akin to gods and devils. Rumble. The 1,000 incarnations charging toward the destruction god were like moths to a flame, constantly shattering and disappearing. But the 2,000 incarnations charging toward the fire dragon were unstoppable. In the blink of an eye, the fire dragon was covered in blood. Not a single part of his body was intact. Roar, accompanied by a painful howl, his two dragon claws shattered, and his dragon tail was torn apart by dozens of incarnations. Several bloody holes appeared on his huge body, and dragon blood spurted out like a waterfall. Do you still dare to look down on us? You really don't know what's good for you. Brothers, tear it into pieces. Later, let me stew it in oil and stir-fry it to go with wine. The 2,000 incarnations charged forward like a pack of hungry wolves, using all kinds of supreme profound meanings and heaven-defying techniques. Facing such a situation, even if the fire dragon had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't be able to handle it. The outcome would be so miserable that no one could bear to look at it. Chapter 3586. Damn, he's too strong. Sister, work harder and make him my brother-in-law. Pyrotechnic Glow clenched his fists, his eyes filled with admiration. Obviously. Qin Fei Yang had successfully gained another little fan. Stop talking nonsense. Princess Huafeng's veins popped out on her forehead when she heard this. How old are you? Why are you still so frivolous every day? It's true. I like him a lot. If I were a woman, I would definitely marry him. Pyrotechnic Glow chuckled. Princess Huafeng couldn't help but give this boastful brother a knock on his head. She then raised her head and looked at the battlefield. Needless to say, this human man really has a fascinating charm. 3,000 incarnations crazily attacked the fire dragon. Qin Fei Yang himself was like an outsider. After taking a divine life pill, he stood on the sea and watched the show. You've gone too far, die, all of you. Forbidden art, heaven's annihilation. Hua Long roared furiously. The blood character mark on its forehead actually separated and erupted with a wave of fire that could burn the heavens and destroy the world. The 2,000 clones didn't even have time to cry out before they were annihilated. Not only that, even the sky and void were melting. Forbidden technique. The madman and the white-eyed wolf's eyes trembled. Because at this moment, even they felt a strand of lethal danger. The young man's eyes flashed slightly and whispered, this forbidden technique is a super forbidden technique. Qin Feiyang isn't its opponent. What? The snow python was shocked. If even the young man said so, one could imagine how terrifying this forbidden technique was. Qin Feiyang, even if you activate the slaughter zone, it's too late. Go to hell. The fire dragon laughed sinisterly. The waves of fire formed by the blood-written imprint suddenly turned into a torrent, rolling towards Qin Feiyang. On the battlefield, Qin Feiyang could clearly feel just how terrifying this wave of fire was. The young man wasn't exaggerating at all. This taboo technique was more than enough to instantly kill him. He never expected that the fire dragon would have such a terrifying trump card hidden up his sleeve. The heavens had fallen. This was an attempt to annihilate everything in the world. However, although he was facing a fatal crisis, Qin Feiyang did not panic at all. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind. Finally, it stopped at the Eye of Heaven. Since it was a forbidden technique, the Eye of Heaven should be able to replicate it. Without hesitation, the purple gold dragon soul roared and activated the Eye of Heaven. You want to replicate a forbidden technique? The fire dragon laughed without restraint. Copy. Qin Feiyang turned a deaf ear to him. With a loud roar, the intertwining black and white divine light surged toward the wave of fire like a tide. The next moment, above the purple gold dragon soul, a wave of fire appeared, exuding the power of destruction. What? The fire dragon's laughter stopped abruptly, and his eyes almost popped out. Looks like you don't know much about the Eye of Heaven. Apart from divine artifacts and the like, it can replicate all kinds of attacks. Qin Feiyang's eyes turned cold. With a wave of his hand, the wave of fire surged out and rushed toward the wave of fire above. In fact, he was also quite surprised. Because the Eye of Heaven had evolved, he didn't know the details. In other words, he didn't know whether it could be replicated or not. But fortunately, the Eye of Heaven was still as heaven-defying as before. The two forbidden techniques collided with a loud bang. Heaven and earth roared, and the sky collapsed as if it was the end of the world. Impossible, no matter how heaven-defying the Eye of Heaven is, there should be a limit. This is a forbidden technique. It's known as the strongest forbidden technique. How can it be replicated? Looking at this scene, Fire Dragon seemed to have gone mad. As the two taboo techniques were destroyed, Qin Feiyang raised his head to look at Huolong's glabella. To his surprise, he discovered that the blood character mark on Huolong's glabella no longer existed. In other words, this taboo technique consumes the entire blood imprint as the price. No wonder the Fire Dragon hadn't activated this forbidden technique before. It turned out that as long as this forbidden technique was activated, the blood mark would completely disappear. Once the blood mark disappeared, it would lose the power of the mark and become an ordinary divine dragon. The outcome has been decided. Long Qin shook his head and smiled. Although the forbidden technique was powerful, the Eye of Heaven was even more heaven-defying. If the Fire Dragon had challenged Qin Feiyang before the first prince, then Qin Feiyang would have died without a doubt. Because if the Eye of Heaven hadn't evolved, Qin Feiyang wouldn't be able to block this forbidden technique without activating the slaughter domain or using the sovereign divine weapon. Unfortunately, the Fire Dragon chose to fight after the evolution of the Eye of Heaven. However, this Eye of Heaven was indeed ridiculously strong. It was fine if it could copy a supreme profound, but it could also copy a super forbidden technique. The present Qin Feiyang was already in an invincible position in the sky cloud realm as long as the super powerhouses of the four forbidden zones did not come out. Let's end our feud here. Qin Feiyang took a step forward. Two great profound meanings appeared, and he charged into the sky. You want to end it? Impossible. This emperor hasn't lost yet, and I won't lose. The Fire Dragon roared hysterically. The law of lightning and the law of destruction surged out, attacking Qin Feiyang's two supreme profundities. But was it useful? How could the thunder laws compare to the supreme law? With a loud bang, the two supreme profound shattered. Without the support of the blood mark, they seemed vulnerable. Following closely, the two supreme profound, karma laws and destruction laws, fiercely bombarded the fire dragon's body. Roar, with a painful howl, the fire dragon's huge body was torn apart. Don't kill me, the fire dragon's soul suddenly left its body, and its divine soul hurriedly begged in the void. No matter how arrogant a person was, they were afraid of death. The fire dragon was no exception. In the face of death, it didn't hesitate to put down its so-called self-esteem. But it never thought that with the grudges it had accumulated with Qin Feiyang over the years, would Qin Feiyang let it go? Throughout the whole process, Qin Feiyang didn't show the slightest bit of sympathy or pity. The big hand burst out, and the power of 6 laws intertwined, exuding an aura that could destroy heaven and earth, and slapped the fire dragon's divine soul. No, I beg you, however, he just opened his mouth when Qin Feiyang's palm descended, and Huolong's soul was instantly obliterated in space. Only a miserable cry of despair remained, and it reverberated in the heavens and the earth for a long time. Damn, this guy is too strong now, the white-eyed wolf muttered. He is strong. Madman nodded and laughed, but I'm not bad either. If we really fight, you're not his opponent, okay? The white-eyed wolf rolled its eyes at Madman, then pondered for a while and laughed, but when this brother breaks through to the perfection sovereign realm, then the two of us can join forces and kill him. Who's joining forces with you? So low class. Madman rolled his eyes. Look at how arrogant you are. If this brother breaks through to the perfection sovereign realm, I'll directly crush you and little Qin Zi. The two of you are just small fries. The white-eyed wolf's face was full of disdain. Madman's face turned black, too lazy to bicker with it. He looked at Long Chen who was sitting there. Even if the fire dragon died in the hands of Qin Feiyang, Long Chen didn't show any regret or anger. This isn't right. He's too calm. Could it be, suddenly? Madman's eyes trembled as he landed in front of Qin Feiyang and asked, could it be that the fire dragon also left his divine soul in the dragon nest? Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback as he turned to look at Madman, then the two of them looked at Long Chen. No need to doubt. If he really left his divine soul in the dragon nest, he wouldn't be fighting with you guys like this. Long Chen smiled faintly. Qin Feiyang and Madman looked at each other. Long Chen wouldn't lie to them. Moreover, for Long Chen, the fire dragon was just a small character. After all, the two sovereigns were even willing to give the ice dragon sacred sword and celestial dragon god sword to the blood hall. In other words, he had the capital to be willful. Who told him to have such a powerful father? Outside, the second princess of the dragons looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf in horror, then looked at the third prince and the others and said in a deep voice, we can't stay outside any longer, return to the dragon nest immediately. Yes. The other princes and princesses also nodded. The current Qin Feiyang was too strong, especially Madman. This was especially true for Madman. 8 sovereign divine weapons were enough to make any force tremble in fear. If they continued to stay outside, they would be digging their own graves. Decisive. The group of princes and princesses let their respective sovereign divine weapons take them and their followers and disappeared at the end of the sea without looking back. Seeing this, Bing Running and the others didn't dare to stay for a moment and ran away with their tails between their legs. Even the little princess of the dragons didn't stay. Because she also knew that the moment the first prince of the dragons died, her cooperation with Qin Feiyang had already ended. If she didn't leave, Qin Feiyang and the others would definitely not show mercy to her. Damn, they ran so fast. Madman was planning to deal with these people, but he didn't expect them to disappear without a trace in the blink of an eye. They're not stupid. I'm guessing that he already had the intention to retreat the moment you appeared. The reason they waited until now is purely to see if the fire dragon has the ability to kill me. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed, but he didn't chase after them. Because the sovereign divine weapons took them away, it was impossible to catch up. This time, he was already very satisfied to obtain the Eye of Heaven and kill his mortal enemy, the fire dragon. Long Chen saw everything and put down his teacup. He stood up and looked at Qin Feiyang with a smile. "Brother Qin, thank you for letting me enjoy such a wonderful performance today. You're not going to fight with us?" Madman looked at Long Chen in surprise. Long Chen laughed. "The future is long. There will be a chance in the future. But what if I don't let you go?" Madman chuckled. Long Chen laughed and said indifferently, "That depends on whether you can make me stay or not." Madman narrowed his eyes and the aura of the power of laws spread out from his body. "What's going on? Aren't they old friends? But why does it look like they're going to go all out?" The onlookers who were watching from the outside all revealed looks of bewilderment. With a deafening dragon roar, the first prince of the dragon clan revealed his true form. It was a 5-clawed golden dragon that was thousands of feet long. The essence chi of this sea rushed into his body like a tide, and the life force he had consumed was quickly restored. Right at this moment, Long Chen waved his hand and thousands of divine life pills appeared. They were all in the shape of 10 dragons, and they turned into a majestic life force that surged into the first prince's body. In an instant, the first prince of the dragons recovered more than half of his life force. Suddenly, the white-eyed wolf's eyes turned cold as he looked at Madman Qin Feiyang, and said with a bone-piercing killing intent, "We have to remove the roots when cutting the grass. Kill him." The Madman Qin Feiyang looked at each other with killing intent in their eyes. Shua! But suddenly, Long Chen stepped in front of the two. "What are you doing?" Madman raised his eyebrows. Long Chen smiled faintly and looked at Qin Feiyang. "Give me face and let him go this time." Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. He didn't expect that Long Chen would put down his status and beg for mercy for the first prince of the dragons. "Give you face? On what basis?" Madman sneered. Long Chen looked at Madman and smiled. "Back then, I saved Brother Qin and the white-eyed wolf in the heavy domain. This should be considered a favor. So now, you want to use this favor to save his life?" The white-eyed wolf frowned. Long Chen nodded. The white-eyed wolf said, "You have to think about it. A favor from us is very hard to come by." "I've already thought about it." Long Chen smiled faintly. The white-eyed wolf frowned and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and looked up at Long Chen. He nodded and said, "It's good that we don't owe each other anything. We'll do as you say." "Thank you." Long Chen cupped his hands and thanked him. He stepped in front of the first prince of the dragons and opened his god's domain. A space-time crack also appeared. Immediately after, he took the first prince of the dragons and disappeared from the sight of Qin Feiyang and the others without looking back. "What the hell is this?" Madman was dumbfounded. One has to know that after the castle and the other sovereign weapons sealed this area, they couldn't open a transmission channel. However, Long Chen could ignore this rule. "God's domain," Qin Feiyang said. "God's domain?" Madman was stunned. Of course, he knew about God's domain. This was Long Chen's talent. But was God's domain so heaven-defying? The current God's domain is no longer what it used to be. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. "It's no longer what it used to be?" Madman frowned and asked, "It has evolved?" "Yes. This God's domain is heaven-defying now. It can even ignore the rules of the forbidden area." Qin Feiyang nodded. "So powerful?" Madman was stunned. As expected of their old rival. Even when facing giants like the dragons and the Feng people, they didn't hesitate and chose to stand by his side. But what bed warming! He really didn't like it. Brother Qin, are those two groups of people really the dragons and the Feng people? Someone asked curiously. Yes. Haven't you always wanted to know what the core area of the Yin Demon Land and the Heavy Domain Land is? Now I'll tell you. The dragons and the Feng people live in the core area of these two forbidden areas. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. So that's how it is. I really didn't expect that there were two such terrifying forces hidden in our sky cloud realm. Brother Qin, are you and them mortal enemies? Also, why do you have the purple gold divine dragon's bloodline power? Are you also one of the dragons? Everyone was like curious babies, asking all kinds of questions at once. When facing the dragons and the others, Qin Feiyang wasn't nervous at all, but now looking at these enthusiastic people, he couldn't help but panic. Ahem. Quiet down. Qin Feiyang just went through a big battle, let him have a good rest first. Princess Huafeng came over with pyrotechnic glow and the others to help Qin Feiyang. Princess Huafeng didn't speak, but now that she did, some people immediately surrounded her. Miss, I just heard that you are also one of the Feng people. Since you are also one of the Feng people, why do you help Qin Feiyang when Bing Running wants to kill Qin Feiyang? Also, I overheard your brother saying something about brother-in-law. Are you and Qin Feiyang a couple? A couple? Qin Feiyang and the woman of the Feng people are in love? Amazing, you can even get a divine beast like the phoenix. You are really making us humans proud. Hearing this, everyone started gossiping. First Princess Fire Phoenix finally realized what it meant to be feared by gossip. Originally, there was no such thing at all, but now that people said it, it was as if it was true. Thank you for your trust and support. I have something to do, so I will leave first. Seeing that the situation was getting more and more chaotic, Qin Feiyang hurriedly left and used the space-time step to escape with the frenzied one and the white-eyed wolf without looking back. This kind of enthusiasm was really a bit overwhelming. Seeing this, Princess Huafeng also immediately led Pyrotechnic Glow and the others to chase after Qin Feiyang and the others. Chapter 3588. I didn't expect them to be so popular now. In the distant void, Elder Hua and the other two could not help but smile when they saw this scene. Of course. After all, they have done many good deeds in the Eastern continent all these years. Most importantly, no matter how big the commotion is, they have never implicated any innocent living beings. The Alliance Master, Hall Master, and Shen Meng walked over and chuckled softly. Elder Hua and the other two were stunned. They turned to look at the three humans and two beasts. Seeing that the Vice Alliance Master and Hall of Famers were glowing, Elder Hua could not help but tease, Old Yi, Old Qi, what good things have happened to you too? Why are you so happy? Aren't you asking the obvious? The Vice Alliance Master rolled his eyes at him. Elder Hua could not help but laugh. Our disciples are so outstanding. It's indeed worth being happy about. It's a pity that no one knows about it. Because they had no choice but to put on an act back then, everyone thought that they had fallen out with Qin Feiyang and the others. Naturally, no one would associate it with them. It doesn't matter if others know about it. As long as we know it in our hearts. The Hall of Famers smiled faintly. That's true. Elder Hua nodded. The Shen Meng couple asked, now that the dragons have returned to their nest, the threat to us has disappeared. Can we stop worrying about it? No. Although the dragons have returned to their nest temporarily, as long as they are still there, the danger will not be resolved. Elder Hua immediately thought to himself. That's right. The dragons are afraid of those brats now, but they are not afraid of us. With the dragon's strength, it will be easy for them to destroy the Rogue Cultivator Alliance and the Demonic Hall. If the dragons find out that we have been putting on an act in front of them, it will be a disaster for us. Although I don't know where little lunatic found so many sovereign divine weapons, they can't stay in the demonic hall and the rogue cultivator alliance to protect us forever. So now, we have to be more cautious than before. We can't let the dragons get hold of our weakness, lest we implicate them. The Vice Alliance Master said telepathically. Old Chi is right. It doesn't matter if you can't help. What I'm most afraid of is making things worse. The Hall of Famers nodded. The Demon Hall's Hall Master smiled to himself and said, let's go back. Don't think too much. Let's just live our leisurely days in peace. They exchanged glances and smiled. Then, each of them opened a space-time tunnel and left. In the distance, He Zhongtian's eyes flashed. He also activated a space-time teleportation divine artifact and left without looking back. On the other side of the sea, 2 men and 1 woman stood side by side. All 3 of them were middle-aged and emitted powerful auras. They were the 3 big shots of the North Continent's Heaven Palace. The middle-aged woman retracted her gaze and looked at the 2 middle-aged men beside her. She asked, what do you think of this matter? What does this have to do with us? The Eastern Continent, the Western Continent, and the Southern Continent have been messed up by Qin Feiyang all these years. Only our Northern Continent is still relatively peaceful. Let's keep it that way. That's right. We can't afford to offend the dragons and the foam people. We can't afford to offend people like Qin Feiyang and the madman. Since we have a chance to stay out of trouble, we must not take the initiative to provoke them. The 2 middle-aged men said. The middle-aged couple thought for a moment and nodded with a smile. All right, let's go back. After the 3 giants left, the people gathered in the sky above the sea also left one after another with high spirits. At the same time, in the sky above an island in the distance, Qin Feiyang and the others stopped and turned around to look behind. They all had lingering fear. Princess Huifeng let out a long breath and turned to look at Qin Feiyang and White-Eyed Wolf. I didn't expect you to be so popular in the sky cloud realm. Daifuku and Xiao Fu also looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. They thought that people like Qin Feiyang and White-Eyed Wolf would definitely be infamous. Who would have thought that all they saw was respect and love? Of course. We have done a lot of good things in the sky cloud realm. White-Eyed Wolf smiled proudly. Good things? Princess Huifeng didn't think so. Maybe. The madman looked at them and whispered, Old Qin, why don't you introduce us? There's nothing to introduce. Qin Feiyang shook his head. What do you mean there's nothing to introduce? I am the princess of the Fire Phoenix clan. Is it shameful for you to follow me? Princess Huifeng raised her eyebrows. Ahem. Qin Feiyang coughed to hide the embarrassment on his face. He looked at the madman and said, she is the princess of the foam people, and this pyrotechnic glow is her oviparous brother. One of them is called Daifuku, and the other is called Xiao Fu. As for them, Qin Feiyang looked at the 2 middle-aged women standing behind pyrotechnic glow and shook his head. I don't know who they are. Pyrotechnic glow quickly smiled and said, brother-in-law, they are Aunt May and Aunt Lon. They watched me grow up. What the hell? Qin Feiyang's expression froze. Brother-in-law. White-Eyed Wolf and the madman also looked at each other. Is there something wrong with this kid's brain? Princess Huifeng, the Daifuku brothers, and Aunt May also looked extremely embarrassed. Aunt May stared at pyrotechnic glow, then looked at Qin Feiyang and the madman. She said apologetically, little brothers, I'm sorry. Zihue likes to joke. Please forgive him. Pyrotechnic glow hurriedly said, Aunt May, I'm not joking. He is my brother-in-law. Pyrotechnic glow, are you done? Princess Huifeng shouted. Pyrotechnic glow suddenly shrank his neck. Qin Feiyang looked at this scene and couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. Then he pointed at White-Eyed Wolf and looked at Pyrotechnic Glow. Your brother-in-law is him, not me. Ah. Everyone was stunned again. White-Eyed Wolf was also stunned. Then the veins on his forehead bulged. He shouted, "Are you crazy? Why did you drag me into this? I don't want this unreasonable woman even if you give her to me." "What did you say?" "I'm unreasonable." Princess Huafeng immediately stared at White-Eyed Wolf angrily. "Yes. Is there a second first princess here?" White-Eyed Wolf looked at her with disdain. "Then why don't you tell me how I'm being unreasonable? If you don't make it clear, I won't let you off today." Princess Huafeng's face darkened. She gritted her teeth and looked so fierce that she wanted to skin White-Eyed Wolf alive. "Okay. Let me have a good talk with you. How did we treat you in the land of heavy regions? Although there was a little friction, we were always very polite to you. We even saved you from Bing running. But what about you? How did you repay us? You actually set little Yun up behind our backs and made us search desperately for him outside. Ask your conscience, aren't you wicked?" White-Eyed Wolf sneered. "Little Yun?" Princess Huafeng was stunned. "It's Yun Zhongtian." White-Eyed Wolf waved his claws impatiently. Princess Huafeng's mouth twitched when she heard that. An old man in his 70s or 80s actually called someone Little Yun. Didn't he feel uncomfortable? "Say something. I want to see how you can quibble today." White-Eyed Wolf looked at her mockingly. "I." Princess Huafeng glared at White-Eyed Wolf angrily. He really did not give her any face. "Old Qin, what's the situation?" Frenzy looked at the White-Eyed Wolf and eldest princess who were quarreling endlessly with a stunned expression. Qin Feiyang said to himself, "You can't blame me, it was White-Eyed Wolf himself who said that he wanted to try and get along with this woman." "Is that so?" Frenzy suddenly seemed to have discovered a new continent as he chuckled, "Brother Wolf is finally enlightened, I am relieved. I am also quite happy. And the princess of the Fire Phoenix clan is also worthy of White-Eyed Wolf." Qin Feiyang chuckled. "Yes, yes." Frenzy nodded. When White-Eyed Wolf and eldest princess quarreled, they really looked like a pair of quarrelsome lovers. "Daifuku, Xiaofu, what's the situation? Isn't brother-in-law Qin Feiyang?" Pyrotechnic Glow was also dumbfounded. "Your Highness, what are you doing all day? This is not a problem at all." Daifuku and Brother Wolf sighed helplessly. "It's not Qin Feiyang, but this wolf cub." "No, no, no, absolutely not." Pyrotechnic Glow came back to his senses and rushed to Princess Huafeng's side. He glared at the White-Eyed Wolf and said, "Wolf cub, don't dream of eating swan meat. Give up, I won't allow it." Daifuku and Brother Wolf looked at the sky and were speechless. Why was His Highness so worrisome? He always did what he wanted to do. "I am a toad, she is a swan." White-Eyed Wolf was also stunned. Where did this sense of superiority come from? Of course. Why don't you take a look at yourself? Do you think you are worthy of my sister? Pyrotechnic Glow looked disdainful. Okay. I admit defeat when I meet you siblings." White-Eyed Wolf waved his paws, too lazy to talk nonsense. "We're siblings. Wait. Today, you have to tell me clearly. The person who said you is my brother. How did I provoke you?" Princess Huafeng grabbed the White-Eyed Wolf's tail and said angrily. "Are you done?" White-Eyed Wolf raised his eyebrows. Interesting, Qin Feiyang and Madman not only didn't stop the fight, but also laughed. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang patted his head and turned to look at Madman. He asked suspiciously, "Where did you get those 8 sovereign divine weapons?" "I don't have the ability. Someone lent them to me." Madman waved his hand. "Who?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. To be able to lend Madman 8 sovereign divine weapons at once, this was not something an ordinary person could do. The most important thing was this trust in Madman. Think about it, if it wasn't for absolute trust in Madman, who would dare to lend him so many sovereign divine weapons? Could it be Big Brother? It's not them. Madman shook his head and whispered in Qin Fei Yang's ear, it's the 8 beast emperors. So it's them. Qin Fei Yang suddenly understood. His face revealed a look of shock as he muttered, I didn't expect them to have a sovereign divine weapon each. Not to mention you, when I saw it, I was also shocked. Madman smiled bitterly. Qin Fei Yang pondered for a while and glanced at the surrounding sea. He sighed, it seems that this heavenly cloud sea isn't as simple as we think. Madman nodded. The heavenly cloud sea could definitely be called the 5th forbidden area of the sky cloud domain. Fortunately, the heavenly cloud sea was on their side. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Chapter 3589. What are they mumbling about? The Daifuku brothers and Aunt May had been paying attention to Qin Fei Yang and Madman. I don't know. But now, why should we follow them? Aunt May and Madman looked suspiciously at the Daifuku brothers. The matter was over, shouldn't they return to the phoenix nest? Daifuku said, there is one more thing that needs the help of Qin Fei Yang and the others. This matter is related to the future of the princess and the prince. Future. The more Aunt May and Madman heard, the more confused they became. How could the future of the 2 princes be related to Qin Fei Yang and the others? Qin Fei Yang retracted his gaze and looked at the white-eyed wolf and the first princess who were still arguing. He was speechless. White-eyed wolf, you are a man, can't you let her have her way? There is something wrong with your words. Why should a man let a woman have her way? Besides, do you think she looks like a woman? The white-eyed wolf snorted. How do I not look like a woman? Princess Huifeng was about to explode from anger at the white-eyed wolf. Qin Fei Yang and Madman smiled helplessly. With a wave of their hand, a group of people immediately appeared in the Black Tortoise world. Immediately. Princess Huifeng calmed down, her eyes filled with anticipation. This is that independent world. The Daifuku brothers also looked around curiously. Compared to the Daifuku brothers, Pyrotechnic Glow and Aunt May knew nothing about the Black Tortoise world. The surprise on their faces was even stronger. I mean what I say. Qin Fei Yang looked at Princess Huifeng and smiled. He then looked at the white-eyed wolf and said, take them to the cultivation room. The pills that Dan Wankai refined are all inside. Why should I go? The white-eyed wolf was dissatisfied. Qin Fei Yang said, I have something to discuss with senior brother. He was actually quite depressed in his heart. What a pig brain. Can't you see that I am creating an opportunity for you? But he didn't know that with his cultivation, he was really causing trouble for the white-eyed wolf. Back then, the white-eyed wolf was just joking. He didn't have much interest in the first princess of the phone people. Hurry up and go, why are you talking so much nonsense? Madman urged. The ingrate glared at the 2 of them, then looked at Princess Huifeng and said, come with me. It was rare for Princess Huifeng to not be angry. She immediately pulled Hua Zihui and followed the ingrate into the castle. The Dafu brothers and Aunt May looked at each other and couldn't help but look at Qin Fei Yang. Qin Fei Yang said with a faint smile, you guys go too. The siblings need your help later. Thank you. Daifuku cupped his hands and thanked him. Then, he hurried in. Is Brother Wolf serious this time? Why doesn't it look like it? Madman scratched his head and looked at Qin Fei Yang. Don't you know it? If we don't help it, even if a sky immortal stands in front of it, it won't be moved. Qin Fei Yang was helpless. That's true. Madman nodded and smiled bitterly. Let's go to the tea garden. I will tell you about our experience in the heavy region and let you know our current relationship with the phone people. The 2 entered the tea garden and sat opposite each other. Qin Feiyang drank tea while Madman drank wine. They chatted. After a long time, Madman suddenly said, "No wonder you will help them open the door of potential. It turns out that you have an agreement with the fire foam people. Then, let's talk about you. How did Big Brother train you?" He comprehended two supreme profound meanings so quickly. Qin Feiyang was curious. Training? Madman's mouth twitched and said helplessly, "That's torture, okay?" Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "To be able to comprehend too profound, even if it's torture, it's still a blessing. You don't deny it, right? But to be honest, these years, I have been living a life worse than death every day." Madman sighed. "What about Old Pei and the others? What level have they reached now?" Qin Feiyang asked. "The people who went this time have basically stepped into the perfection ruler realm. Even Wang Xiaojie, Qin Chen, Long Tianyu, and Zhuo Xiaocheng have stepped into the ruler realm. As for Old Pei and Old Wang, they were originally perfection ruler realm. Of course, they are stronger now. You have to be mentally prepared. When they come out, they will definitely give you a shock." Madman snickered. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. Whether it was a surprise or a shock, as long as he became stronger, he would be happy. He asked, "What about the demon ancestor and Mu Tianyang? I didn't notice them when I went. Because that place is very big, after entering, everyone separated. I didn't plan to come out so soon, but I heard from Big Brother that you were going to fight the Crown Prince of the Dragons, so I was worried and came out to take a look." Madman shook his head. "Then when do you plan to go back?" Qin Feiyang asked. "I can't go back. That bastard rabbit said that if I leave, I can forget about going back in the future. You know its character. It always means what it says. However, I am strong enough now. I don't need to go back." Madman waved his hand in a carefree manner. Similarly, his friendship with Qin Feiyang was touching. He would rather give up such a good cultivation environment to come out and help him. "Thank you." Qin Feiyang held his teacup and smiled. "What's the point of saying thanks between brothers?" Madman rolled his eyes and clinked his wine cup in the air. Then, a smile appeared on both their faces. "Brother Qin, Brother Mo," suddenly. Accompanied by a hoarse voice, Yun Zhongtian flew over. "Old Yun, it's been hard on you." Madman looked up at Yun Zhongtian and smiled. "No, no. The one who has worked hard is Brother Qin." Yun Zhongtian waved his hand. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and the Death God's sword appeared and flew in front of Yun Zhongtian. Yun Zhongtian was taken aback. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Why don't we let the Death God's sword follow you first? It's the same." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "All right." Yun Zhongtian nodded and kept the Death God's sword. He sat by the side and looked at Madman in admiration. "Brother Mo, your strength has improved very quickly." "Of course. How can a monstrous genius be undeserved?" Madman smiled proudly. Haha, Yun Zhongtian couldn't help but laugh. He really didn't know how to be humble at all. How would he know? In Madman's dictionary, there was no such word as humble. Buzz. Suddenly, the sound transmission god stone rang. Qin Feiyang took out the sound transmission god stone and looked down. A smile appeared on his face. "Who is it?" Madman was suspicious. "Elder Hua." Qin Feiyang smiled. After awakening, he realized that not only Elder Hua, Chu Yun and the Demon Hall Master were also there. Madman smiled, "Now you guys are comfortable. The dragon's men have been scared away by us. No one will threaten you guys anymore." "Yes, we are comfortable." Elder Hua nodded. He was in a good mood. Looking at Qin Feiyang and Madman, he asked, "What kind of monsters are you two?" How did you break through to the Paragon Dominator realm so quickly and even grasped two of the strongest laws? Don't be envious. This is not something you can be envious of. Madman smiled proudly. Elder Huo rolled his eyes. He looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "What is going on between you and the Feng people? They want to kill you and help you at the same time." The Feng people have two races. One is the Ice Phoenix, the other is the Fire Phoenix. Qin Feiyang explained the situation simply. So that's the case. Elder Huo nodded and said, "There is something that I have discussed with the Hall Master and Xiao Yun. We feel that there is a need to tell you." "What is it?" Qin Feiyang looked at the three of them in confusion. "Previously, when you were fighting with the Crown Prince of the Dragons, there was an old man with a white beard. You know him too. He is the storyteller in the tea house." Elder Huo said. "Storyteller?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. After thinking for a moment, he nodded and said, "I have some impression." "What about him?" "This person said something very strange at the time." Elder Huo frowned. Qin Feiyang and Madman looked at each other. "Strange words." "That's right. He said a lot about the origin of the purple gold dragon blood." Elder Huo said. "What?" Qin Feiyang suddenly stood up and asked, "What did he say?" "He said that many years ago, a purple gold dragon blood appeared and fell in love with a human man." Elder Huo repeated what the white-bearded old man said without missing a single word. This, Qin Feiyang and Yun Zhongtian were dumbfounded. "What's wrong?" Madman looked at the two of them in shock. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, "You don't know. When I asked Elder Huo about the Feng people, he said the same thing." "What?" Madman was stunned. Elder Huo and the other two also realized that this matter was not simple. Yun Zhongtian furrowed his brows and looked at Qin Feiyang to ask, according to what the Fiery Phoenix clan leader had said at that time, all of this was a secret and the number of people who knew about it could be counted on one hand. How did this white-bearded old man know about it? He's a storyteller. Could it be that he just guessed it? Chu Yun said. Impossible. There's no smoke without fire. Besides, if he really guessed it, there must be some deviation. How can it be exactly the same as what Elder Huo Feng people said? There must be a problem here. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. You mean, he might be someone who knows about it? Elder Huo asked. It's not a possibility, it's a certainty. Qin Feiyang clenched his fists. Elder Huo heard this and pondered for a while before saying, if that's the case, then let's go to the tea house now and control him. No need. Don't do anything about this. I'll go. Although the dragons have returned, our relationship can't be known by others. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. We know this. Elder Huo nodded. All right then. Qin Feiyang turned off the divine sound transmission stone and turned to look at Madman, saying, Master and the others will definitely send us a message later. Instead of waiting for them to send a message, why don't we take the initiative to send them a message and explain the situation during this period of time? Don't let them worry. Okay. Madman took out the divine sound transmission stone. Qin Feiyang looked at Yun Zhongtian and said, Elder Yun, go to the ancient castle and help keep an eye on it. Tell the white-eyed wolf to come over. Okay. Yun Zhongtian nodded his head and got up to head straight for the ancient castle. Chapter 3590. Buzz. Not long after. The Hall of Famers, the deputy leader, the leader, and the divine python couple appeared. The Hall of Famers laughed hoarsely. We were just about to send you a message. Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at each other. Sure enough. It was understandable. After all, so many things had happened. As elders, they would definitely care about them first. The two of them didn't hide anything and told the leader and the others the whole story. During this time, the white-eyed wolf also joined the group chat. After that, knowing that Qin Feiyang and the others still had important matters to deal with, the leader and the others didn't delay any longer. They reminded them to be careful and turned off the voice transmission god stone. Xiao Yun already gave a simple explanation of the situation in the castle earlier. Actually, at the tea house, I had a feeling that this old man was a little incomprehensible. I thought it was an illusion, but I didn't expect that there really was a problem. The white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang and the madman and said. Because it was the one who kidnapped the white-bearded old man, it had the most contact. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said, let's not talk about this first. Has your energy C recovered? Yes. The white-eyed wolf nodded, then frowned and said, it's strange. My recovery speed seems to be at least twice as fast as before. Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at each other and then at the white-eyed wolf suspiciously. For example, in the past, it took me an hour to recover. Now, it seems that I can do it in less than an hour. The white-eyed wolf explained, his face full of suspicion. There's such a thing. Qin Feiyang frowned. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he said in surprise, could this be related to your bloodline power? I thought so too. The white-eyed wolf nodded. No matter what, this is a good thing. We'll study it slowly in the future. Let's go to the tea house first. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and 2 people and 1 wolf appeared above the sea. The white-eyed wolf immediately waved its paw, and a space-time crack appeared. The 2 men and 1 wolf rushed into the passage without looking back. In the next moment, they arrived at the entrance of the tea house. Several years passed. There were no changes in the tea house. Most of the people who came here were scholars. The sound of the zither was still melodious. Isn't this young Master Qin, young Master Mo, and Lord Golden-Winged Wolf King? It was the same red-clothed woman who had received Qin Feiyang last time. She quickly walked out and looked at Qin Feiyang, the young man, and the white-eyed wolf with a smile. Qin Feiyang. Madman Mo. Golden-Winged Wolf King. When the guests sitting inside heard the woman in red's words, they looked toward the door and their expressions changed drastically. Weren't you still fighting on White Crane Island? How did you come to the tea house so quickly? I heard that Qin Feiyang is also a tea lover. It seems that he was also attracted by the king of tea here, the Longjing tea. A few people whispered. Wow! It's really them. They are indeed extraordinary and handsome. A group of young women ran out of the tea house when they heard the news. When they saw Qin Feiyang and the madman, their eyes lit up. You have good taste. The madman touched his chin and smiled narcissistically. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at him and looked at the red-clothed woman with a smile. May I ask if the storyteller is in the tea house right now? You are looking for the old man? The red-clothed woman was stunned. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. The red-clothed woman asked suspiciously, then may I ask why young master is looking for the old man? Why are you talking so much nonsense? Just say it. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows and shouted. The red-clothed woman's pupils constricted and she hurriedly said, Lord Wolf King, please calm down. This old man hasn't been to the tea house for a long time. The 2 people and the wolf looked at each other. The red-clothed woman asked, I wonder if the 3 of you have heard about the old man being kidnapped last time? I've heard about it. Qin Feiyang nodded. Since then, the old man has never been here again. If not for someone seeing the old man on White Crane Island not long ago, we would have thought that something had happened to him. So, I'm very sorry for making the 3 of you come here for nothing. The red-clothed woman smiled apologetically. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and waved his hand with a smile. It's fine. Then do you know where he lives? The madman thought for a moment and asked the red-clothed woman. I don't know. Actually, I'm not very familiar with the old man. When he came to the tea house to tell stories, he was the one who asked for it. My young master found his stories quite interesting, so he asked him to come to the tea house to tell stories every day. The red-clothed woman smiled. I see. Qin Feiyang smiled and cupped his hands. Then I won't disturb you any longer. Young master, take care. The red-clothed woman bowed to send him off. Qin Feiyang, the madman, and the white-eyed wolf turned around and walked down the street aimlessly. Why did he disappear? Could it be that he also realized that he had attracted our attention? The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. No. He didn't disappear. That red-clothed woman must know his whereabouts. Qin Feiyang shook his head. What do you mean? The white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang in confusion. The madman spoke first and laughed. Because this woman revealed a flaw. A flaw? The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. Why didn't it notice it? Qin Feiyang looked at the madman and said with a smile, Senior brother's insight is still so terrifying. Don't flatter me. The madman rolled his eyes and looked at the white-eyed wolf. If the two really have an ordinary relationship, if it were you, would you respect the other party? Furthermore, it was a look of respect on his face. Of course not. The white-eyed wolf shook his head without thinking. That's right. If it were anyone else, facing someone who has nothing to do with them, they would at most show kindness and would never show respect. But that woman just now, when she talked about the white-bearded old man, although she concealed it, it wasn't difficult to see her respect for the white-bearded old man. If it was as she said, that she wasn't familiar with the white-bearded old man, then how could there be such respect in her words when facing an ordinary storyteller? The madman sneered. I see. The white-eyed wolf nodded in realization and then asked in confusion, then why didn't you directly expose her lie? Are you stupid? It's obvious that the white-bearded old man is related to the tea house. If we exposed her face to face, wouldn't it be the same as alerting the enemy? The madman rolled his eyes at the white-eyed wolf. That's right. It's not good for us to alert the enemy. And do you think a mere staff member has the guts to lie to us? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The white-eyed wolf pondered and frowned. You mean, it was the housemaster behind the tea house who made the woman say that? Who else could it be besides him? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. Now, not only the white-bearded old man, but also the entire tea house had problems. Brother Qin. Suddenly, two young men ran over. Qin Feiyang turned to look at the two young men and was slightly surprised. Both of them were around 20 years old, wearing brocade clothes and had extraordinary temperaments. Their cultivation was not bad, half-step imperishable realm. He had seen them before in the garden of the tea house. The two ran over breathlessly and nodded to the madman and the white-eyed wolf. What's the matter? Qin Feiyang asked with a smile. The two calmed down and turned to look at the tea house. They whispered, Brother Qin, we're here to tell you a little secret. Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at the white-eyed wolf curiously. Actually, the people of the tea house are very familiar with the storyteller. I remember one time when we were sitting in the tea house drinking tea, we accidentally saw the woman sending a message to the white-bearded old man. Think about it. They have established a contract bridge. How can their concern be bad? The two whispered. Well, Qin Feiyang frowned and asked, is it possible that they established a contract because of work so that they can contact each other? No. I saw that they were chatting happily. And we noticed that the woman seemed to be very respectful when facing the white-bearded old man. In fact, not only us, but everyone who used to visit the tea house thought that the white-bearded old man was the elder of the owner of the tea house. So when we heard the woman say that she was not familiar with the white-bearded old man, we were very surprised. The two shook their heads. Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at the white-eyed wolf, and a light flashed in their eyes at the same time. Qin Feiyang looked at the two again and said with a smile, "Then let me ask you another thing. When did the tea house appear? When did it appear?" The two were stunned. "When did it open for business?" Qin Feiyang asked in a different way. "Oh, you mean this?" The two suddenly smiled and said, "Let's think about it." After that, the two lowered their heads and pondered. After a while, one of the young men's eyes lit up. He looked up at Qin Feiyang and said, "It should be more than 500 years ago." "Yes, yes, yes. It was more than 500 years ago." The other young man also nodded quickly, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Because on the day of the opening, I came with a friend." "More than 500 years ago," Qin Feiyang murmured. At this time, he was already a little famous in the sky cloud realm. "Brother Qin, dare I ask, why did you ask about the tea house?" The two looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. "Nothing, just curious." Qin Feiyang waved his hand and looked at the two with a smile, "Thank you for telling me, brothers. When you have time next time, I will invite you to tea at the tea house." "Really? Then we will be looking forward to it." The two were pleasantly surprised. Qin Feiyang smiled and cupped his hands, "Then we will take our leave first." "Okay." The two nodded. After walking away, Qin Feiyang turned his head and looked back. Seeing the two young men leave happily, he looked at the madman and the white-eyed wolf and said with a smile, "It seems that as we guessed, this tea house has a lot of secrets. More than 500 years ago, if I remember correctly, we were already famous in the sky cloud realm." The madman laughed. Low-key, low-key. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. "Tea house, Mr. Storyteller, interesting. Let's go, let's meet this mysterious house master." Qin Feiyang's mind moved and activated the concealment art. The two men and the wolf immediately disappeared. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.